And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicenda. I am Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope here at Plus One is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but the most fun way is sitting down with those designers to play that game, and today is no different. It's Saturday afternoon here in the U.S., which means it is a great time to sit down and play some Mothership with a great group of creators. We've actually got a killer crew of Mothership designers here, a lot of whom are connected to the project in different ways, but I'm going to kick it over to Marco first. Marco, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and tell us a little bit about Outsourced?
Yeah, hi, I'm Marco Serrano, and I run Spicy Tuna RPG, and have found a little niche of family in the Mothership space, which I've really enjoyed. And actually, everyone playing right now has written for Spicy Tuna, and I've been really fortunate to get to know everybody. So that's what we do. And Outsourced is our next book coming out. It is kind of like a modularly built book that introduces the largest mercenary camp in the sector, and with that, they have all types of horrors within themselves, but they are also used to send people to horrific deaths on different planets to get rid of personnel who know too much. And so that is kind of the overall setting that we're playing in. And Christian was so wonderful to write the Bunker Escape adventure for this, which takes place, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but it takes place after we've all survived one of these horrific missions. And now we have choices to incorporate ourselves within the mercenary camp that sent us to our death, or to choose a different route for ourselves.
Awesome. And Shane Thayer over on Facebook was incredibly excited to see your face. Hey, Shane, thanks for being with us today also too, but just a lot of Marco exclamation point in the chat also too. So, let's, I know you already mentioned Christian, but we'll go to them last. Let's meet our other two players and then kind of kick it over to Christian to queue up the adventure and introduce themselves. Let's go to Chris first. Chris, why don't you tell people who you are and what you do?
Everybody, I'm Chris Ario. I'm a game designer, writing for Mothership mostly, although I just recently dabbled a little bit in Skyrealms, just kind of getting out there with some coloring book stuff. I've been really grateful to be part of the Mothership community, and these guys all have been helpful to me along the way for the Biodrone, the crowd clones release back for Zine Month, and I'm just kind of doing a little bit of things here and there.
Awesome.
Trying to keep up with these guys.
And Biodrone's crowd clones, if they can go find that on BackerKit and still pre-order if they haven't picked it up yet, right?
Yeah, it's still on pre-orders.
Cool. I'm looking forward to playing some from that whenever the release is set as we start shipping those out. So looking forward to it. And then Reese, why don't you tell people the same thing about you, who you are, what you do, where they can find you?
Yeah, g'day guys. I'm Reese. He, him. You may recognize me from none of other streams with Tony. Yeah, I write games, I guess. I've done stuff for Mothership. I've done a bunch of dumb things. I was one of the, release partners, I guess, with Space Penguin Inc. So that's super cool. Otherwise, yeah, I'm on Discord. I am Scarius. You will find me in the Mothership server and probably other places like the +1 XP server. What's up?
What up?
And yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Say good day.
Awesome. Christian, why don't you tell us a little about who you are, what you do? Give us a little taste of what's coming up in the adventure we're about to go on also.
Yeah, my name is Christian Sorrell. I also am known online mostly as Meat Castle or Meat Castle Gameware is sort of my sometimes used publishing imprint. Sometimes I just go by Christian, depending on how authorial or not I am feeling. But yes, I wrote, Outsourced itself, the sort of overall book is definitely Spicy Tuna and Marco's brainchild. Marco came to me pretty early on to when I started opening to taking freelance things, and I actually wrote this bunker escape adventure for it. I think that, we'll see how much of it we see and dig through. I'll probably going to be running it in a little bit of an accelerated manner for the sake of the stream. I would say it's not a one-shot adventure. It's not like a pamphlet adventure. It's a meteor thing. But the way I think it sticks out from other stuff in sort of the Mothership space or the sci-fi space really is it's more of a thriller style adventure. It's because it's not a heist, right? You're trying to escape from this bunker, but it has some of that thriller heist-like quality to it. There's a way of the players are needing to navigate a very dangerous situation, but people are the primary danger here. It's Mothership, so it definitely gets weird in places and horrific in places as well, but it's not a alien loose on a ship style adventure. It's a little bit different. And one of the things too that I think is pretty cool when Marco approached me with the overall sort of idea of what's happening in Outsourced is this is also an adventure that can be played in pieces between other adventures. There's definitely a way where someone using Outsourced could have bits and pieces of the adventure we're going to play today developments happening during sort of their downtime between off-planet missions, which I think is also really cool. Because it's sort of it's investigating into this corporate bunker that you're housed in and trying to eventually escape, but you could do little bits and pieces of that as part of a longer campaign, which I think is really cool. And something I haven't seen a ton of, I think, in this space. So I think that part is potentially really cool too. But yeah, we can get into it
before
we want proper, but that's kind of the spiel.
Yeah, awesome. Before we do that, a couple things we've got coming up here on stream is tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. I'm sitting down with Kyle Latino to do prep for a game we've got happening next Friday with Monstrous. Monstrous is a new system agnostic bestiary concept where you think about how the monsters in your fantasy game fit into the actual setting and space that you are playing in. So we're going to prep for an adventure and then play an adventure later that week. I've been excited about this project since last December. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm a huge fan of Kyle's. Excited to sit down with him tomorrow night and do that prep on stream. Also, we've got our release, hopefully not this coming week, but the week after, fingers crossed, of Zine Club. RPG Zine Club is a chance for you to support new and emerging designers from diverse spaces in a subscription model. So rather than going to Kickstarter, we are going to be curating a set of great zines and great concepts that we help develop and then release to you. It's a way to really invest more intentionally in the community, especially for people who can't do crowdfunding for zine weight games. So if you want to check that out, go to rpgzine.club. Before we play any game, we tend to sit down and have a conversation around safety. We did that a little bit beforehand. We've got, we use lines, veils, the X card, and the open door policy. The lines we have in play, things that are off limits for the game, are sexual violence, sexual coercion, harm against children, and suicide by hanging are the things we've set a line against. I don't know that we mentioned any veils. Those are things that we might treat with care, fade to black, move forward, mention, and just move on, not dwell on as we play. And then the X card is the ability for any of us to say X or pause the game, identify an issue that's bothering them, or remove it. They don't have to explain why it bothers them. We might update our lines and veils, and then we'll move forward. Were there any lines or veils I missed in that? Cool.
You covered what I had in my notes.
Awesome. And then the open door policy is that we're real people. We might need to get up, move around, step off screen for a second, take a break. When we need to do that, we will. We'll let you know if we're all going to take a break, so you don't just see us all randomly get up and flee from our screens. But while you're watching, make sure you take care of yourself as well. With that said, I'm going to hand things over to Meat Castle to take us into the game.
Awesome. So I'll go ahead and get us the setup here, and then we'll give character intros, and then we'll jump into it. Like all good heist thriller type situations, I'm very interested to see how what happens, right? This is another classic Mothership. I have no idea what's going to happen. Adventures, which is always kind of thrilling as the GM, I think. So in the past, sort of before we pick up here today, the crew, all of you, your employer, or sort of original employer from this standpoint, informed you all of a deficit of work, and that you would be outsourced for quick and easy, high-paying delivery job because they basically didn't have anything for you to do, but they had like outsourced you to this other company. It's a well-respected agency called Gunfire and Rescue. You went to their onboarding center several days and signed contracts with them, sort of just waiting in this sort of bureaucratic boredom. You were sent to the Jerry Clovis bunker, which is the area that we are going to be playing most of today's probably adventure in. You were stationed at Jerry Clovis for about 4 months before being deployed for a delivery assignment at Celcio. And Marco, you can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. No, Celcio 10. On the way there, your ship crashed on this sort of barren, freezing planet. You weren't anywhere near your intended destination. Typical Mothership adventure things happened here, right? You clawed your way through deadly alien burrows. There were like alien, horrifying illusions, blizzard conditions, things like that. And all along the way, sort of the pieces begin to click for all of you that something stranger than just standard Mothership adventure things were happening to you, right? You found a number of other Gunfire and Rescue employees dead in this area already, as well as a number of other sort of signs of wreckage similar to yours. One member of the crew, upon investigating, you also sort of had a sneaking suspicion that there may have been something wrong with your ship from the get-go. That, with the wreckage, you couldn't say for sure definitively what that was, but it seemed like either it was a gross error on a mechanic's part, or something had been set to be wrong intentionally. You eventually did survive this encounter. You made your way out. The place you were supposed to go to by the mission briefing you were given had, they welcomed you in, gave you, food, rest, food, rest, and medical care as they could, but they had no sign of you ever coming like that. Like they didn't know who Gunfire and Rescue was. And you sort of sat with that in time, recovered, and then eventually were, given proper rescue from the corporation themselves. With that, you have now come back to Jerry Clovis with this sort of sneaking suspicion that, like Marco said in the intro to the stream, this seems like you may have just been sent to die. You all, I would say, we don't, if we were playing this longer form, we could, but I would say you all feel pretty confident that you were sent to die, but also are in, debt. You can't buy a ticket. You don't have your own ship. You don't have these ways out. So you're at the whim of the big corporations, right? So you are riding along kind of knowing that you were probably sent to die for past jobs maybe you've seen. You can't say for sure. I think any of you would have been contractors on enough questionable jobs that you can probably think of one or two other companies that would have maybe wanted you to not be out there as a possible liability to them in the future. So with that, you are now arriving back at Jerry Clovis Bunker and going to see what that maybe means for your future and what all of you like to do about it in terms of changing your standing in this situation. So we can go ahead and go around and, let's talk characters. What do we all see as you guys come off of this gunfire and rescue branded ship that has landed in front of you? Tony, why don't you go first?
Did we level up after the first adventure?
I did.
Okay, cool.
Sure.
I'm a level 2 mothership.
Your level 2 mothership. Excellent. So as we
Your level 2 battle master,
we see Greeback's Lebo, the android, kind of make their way down, kind of slowly down from the ship. Dark hair, attractive kind of swept back features in a way that isn't quite perfectly human, and
Uncanny Valley.
the valley. The valley's probably fine. It's probably okay. Like
Definitely adjacent.
it's not uncanny yet. The uncanny valley is one valley over. Stay away from there. Yeah. This is just it's fine. It's fine valley.
Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
It's whatever. We lost.
Got a patch on the side of his company issued uniform that says something except no bullshit, and is reading a book called The Avoidance of Human Simulacrum, and has a small lizard that keeps on weaving its way in and out of the collar of his or their shirt. Use they, them, or any pronouns.
And what was their name again?
Greeback Lebo.
Okay.
Whatever people call them is fine. Greeback first name, Lebo second name.
Okay.
Very, very easy to say all at once. Greeback Lebo if they're if you're that kind of person.
Okay. Reese, why don't you go next?
Sure. Following quickly behind Greeback is a gruff-looking bloke in. Oh, sorry, I forget I'm with Americans and a Canadian. Man. Is tired over it, wearing overalls, bit dirty, bit oil stained. Has a couple of patches all over him from various ships and jobs and stuff that they've worked. One that does stick out amongst the bunch. Sorry, it's
There you go.
like 2:15 in the morning. I'm a tired boy, and I'm definitely not drinking whiskey. Anyway, is a lovely buxom wench on a Ace of Spades card. Him is named Ken. Last name is Oath. I won't say that quickly because it'll sound like I'm swearing, and I've been told we can only use the word fuck once. So yeah, I want to make sure I use it at the right fucking time. And yeah, I am the ship's / cruise maintenance gentleman. Maintenance is a strong word. And miner, being an asteroid miner, not a child. As we're rolling into the stark white compound that is the station, I am definitely significantly out of place. I am the blood stain on the white shirt. I am the sore on the inside of your mouth that, like, you bit that one time and then you can't stop biting and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, that's Ken.
All right. Marco.
I'm a little bit primped up. My clothes are dirty from the journey, but the collar is very still strong and kind of pristine. My name is Royce Plotter, and I'm a he, him, and I have very square glasses that are large. I am a pilot, but generally am not allowed to fly during missions. And I'm just a little pissed off about everything and surely uncertain. I always have a pair of brass knuckles on my person, but usually not on my fist. And the patch that I have Velcroed around my head says "For Science." Although I'm a Teamster,
Teamster represent.
Teamster pilot, and but I do dabble in mathematics, which is part of my passion for science.
You're allowed to be more than one thing, even if
Yes.
the company might not appreciate that.
Math makes
All
sense
right,
for
Chris.
a pilot as well.
All right. So my character is Riley O'Hagan. He, they. Riley is a scientist, very focused in robotics. Very notably goes around with a taxidermy cat. I think the crew by now knows the name is Volcanus, right? Tries to keep that nice and safe. And managed somehow to keep on a hold of it through the last mission. And the patch that they wear on their kind of like lab coat is a flame emoji. If you kind of get a look like under the shirt, like along the neck, there's some like burn marks, like all over the shoulder. Burn scar.
Okay. So that's the crew that we see disembarking from this very sort of stock standard personnel shuttle that was brought to rescue you. As the thing, I guess, to describe the approach is, you all know this from your time in the bunker previous to this, is this is like a massive facility. Like this is a large scale sprawling facility. Like on the flight in, almost all of it is built underground, as the name bunker would imply. There are several sort of like anti-aircraft cannons, defense cannons, like positions, but with big distances, like miles and miles between them, right? And the same thing, even the hangar, and then coming out of the hangar and then down this hallway to like the first checkpoint to get to the sort of level 1 area, which is the general personnel clearance area, is long. Like you're walking, for 5-10 minutes just down like cinder blocked metal hallways, or concrete hallways, just to get from one place to another. And yeah, the first area you sort of come up to is through this hangar. You know that you need to come in and go through the security checkpoint to actually get into that level 1 clearance area, which is where things like the dorms are, the rec room, the training facility, all the places you tried to, spend your days between getting hired by the company and actually going out for the mission that I described in the opening. The look and feel here is, I would say, generally, just to think of like the place from an architecture standpoint, is look and feel this bunker is very brutalist, but not like modern, worn down brutalist. Like, oh, here is a brutalist building that was built 50, 60 years ago. This is like the height of that, right? It still has like plant life and nice padded cushioned chairs, and it is that stark contrast is there, but this is a very nice and well kept facility as you come in. So you approach the security checkpoint that you always have to come through. You're still carrying most, I think, of your standard equipment from the job itself. There are 2 really well kitted out guards here, cameras in the corners. This is very much like you're walking into almost like a decontamination level room for security, where they come in, greet you very kindly, like, oh, hello, welcome back from your job, hope all is well, hand out trays for you all to place your weapons. You know that the whole facility is like, you're not bringing anything in. You can wear, I guess, like, definitely no weapons, no dangerous equipment is allowed to be brought in. Clothing and things like that, like you're not going to be wearing like heavy armor, I guess is what I would say. But beyond that, those are other things that you could carry in. Just past the security group here, you see sort of your handler with the company that you talked to in your time before you were left on the mission, Renee Kincaid. She's kind of waiting on the far side of the checkpoint and kind of gives you all a wave. Anyone, what's the approach as you all are coming through? Is it just business as usual, going through the checkpoint? Anything like that?
This isn't our first rodeo, right?
No. You're
It's at least our
fairly
second
experienced.
rodeo.
Yeah.
At least your second rodeo.
Yeah,
You're
this
fairly
is
experienced contractors at this point.
yeah, and we've also just come back from a real bad op where none of us were skilled to do the job, and we were basically expected to die.
And you
Yeah,
think you all have the conspiracy theory that even the ship itself is rigged to probably crash in that area.
Yeah, all right. And then my last question is: are we on a planet and underground, or are we on a asteroid and underground?
You're on a planet and underground.
All right, cool. So there's atmosphere outside of us, which is what matters.
Well, yeah, that's
also,
a good question, Marco. You might know better off the top of your head than I do digging into my memory banks. Is it? I can't remember. It's it's a barren planet, though, right? Or
Yeah,
could you be out
barren
on the surface? Like you couldn't just be out.
We're in like a self-contained
Need a
unit.
vac suit.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, it definitely
atmosphere,
feels like
yes,
it's the only thing
breathable,
around.
questionable.
Yes,
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
tight,
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
And then
You could get
my
to the surface, but you'd need something. Yeah, you need a vac suit.
and
Yeah,
my
you'd have to
final
figure it
question
out.
is when we came in on our dropship / landing craft, did we see any other ships in and around the vicinity or at the landing pad?
Yeah, let me tell you here.
Sorry,
They're
we've been
definitely-
fucked. So I'm a huge fan of just taking everything and leaving.
Well, it's definitely a large scale facility. I mean, in the hangar is probably the most secured area, one of the most secured areas here. One or two other landing vessels. They're all sort of like, you're not seeing a lot of like militarized ships here, though, right? Like it might, like, you know, it's the ship equivalent of an APC, not like a battleship. Like there aren't like huge weapons of war in this area. So
You did mention as well that there were some AA guns as well. So
yeah, and those, even as you were like approaching down across the planet, you could see like this big ring with like several positioned AA guns, where like basically anyone trying to come in here or potentially out of here, right, could fire down onto this place. But yeah, there are 2 or 3 other similar ships to yours. Yours was the only one letting people off and opened at the time, but there were 2 or 3 others parked there.
Cool. And then my most final question. I know I said final question a couple of times now. Does Ken feel like a valley girl to you guys?
I mean, I feel like when you say
like
that, I want to.
I want to say, unfortunately, like I can only do a few accents that are American, and Valley Girl is the most reliable. Otherwise, it's bad Texan.
The real question is, in the far future, what does a Valley Girl accent indicate? Because it probably doesn't indicate you're from like suburban California anymore. It probably indicates something completely different. So I think Valley Girl's great. Just think on that.
Tight. No worries. Yeah. So Ken approaches the metal detector and the scanner and like the whole like X-ray device and the X-ray swab and everything like that. And it's just like, oh my God, you guys, like, what the fuck was this? This was bullshit. I can't believe we went out on that. And it was just like the worst job ever. Everything was bad. Okay. Like, I know Reback agrees with me, but like they're a robot, so it doesn't count. Royce and Riley, are you guys as cut as I am? This was bullshit, yeah? Fuck, is Ken just become Ken? Like, can I need to change my name. I'm a lady now.
I mean, your name, you can be a lady and your name can be Ken. That's fine.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah,
I'm a girl named Ken. Like a boy named Sue, but the other way.
Yes, this was.
And I'm just like unloading like just an obnoxious amount of bullshit. Like, you know, it's pocket knife, it's screwdriver, it's like rattle gun, it's like another screwdriver, it's the little like multi-tool. It's just a bunch of just dumb Teamster bullshit that I'm unloading. And it's, like in every movie ever where there's that guy that's like doing the thing, or in Bowling for Columbine when the guy kept pulling the guns out. It's like that.
It's like
It's
a
just
clown
not-
car, but in
Yeah.
your pants.
Yeah. I'm just like,
Cool.
Yeah, I think Riley would probably even like get in on it and be like, no, this isn't normal. Like,
yeah, right. Like,
yeah, Ken showed me what was going on in that ship, and I verified. I mean, that it looked like sabotage.
if it wasn't sabotage, like, like Royce was the pilot and they weren't even allowed to pilot. Like, that's pretty freaking average if you ask me.
It was in the 36th percentile for worst missions I have ever had to go on.
Worst mission ever.
Pretty pissed too.
So one of the security guards that you're doing is sort of just taking these trays, running them through their various scanners. The other one's kind of like, the guy back at the computer is like looking at what's going through the scan. It's just kind of like slightly eyeballing all of you and taking note of this conversation, I guess I would say. But you're complying, so the process is going through.
I will
Renee
admit as
is
well, like actively, none of my stuff is a gun. Like, I have no weapons on me outside of like, a pocket knife or something dumb like that. But it's like, it's the tradie pocket knife. It's like an what are they called? Box cutter.
Like yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like a box cutter. I'm trying to think of the American equivalent. I apologize. Yeah, box cutter.
Yeah, and as too, you're kind of all going off in this discussion. You can see Renee, kind of like with like a little, folio in one hand, kind of like this checkpoint's long. It's like an airport checkpoint where like she's on the other side of security and she can clearly see that you're all having this animated conversation, and she wants to kind of like know
I'm
what
definitely speaking loud enough to ensure that Renee can hear me, and I'm addressing Renee in like various points.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, Renee, this is fuck.
She's kind of being like putting up a thing and being like, just gesturing to be like, just come on, just come here and talk to me.
I walk through and hand them my stun baton. I don't put it down on the scanner. I totally misinterpret the hand wave as a come give me that thing.
Okay. Everyone proceeds through. Because I feel like I should ask, it's kind of a leading question. Is anyone attempting to not leave all of their pertinent things?
No, I reluctantly give my brass knuckles, which is just a trinket, but they want it. And
it's not weapon grade.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing.
Okay. So yeah, you make your way through. Like I said, most of it is scanned, cataloged, bagged, and then like put into sort of like your personal effects in some part of the facility that are returned to you when you're leaving and going out for a job, but they aren't something you have access to during your time.
And it's just weapons and armor that they're taking explicitly, right? Or is it
and like dangerous equipment? Like if you had like some sort of like a welding gun or something, they're gonna
anything that has a damage stat next to it in the source book is what we're talking about.
I would say like small basic tools and stuff like that. It's not that strict of a facility, but yeah, it's pretty big. And especially from the checkpoint here, like we really are in these like concrete halls that then open to a little bit more of a checkpoint area, and then now you're going to more concrete halls all back past Renee that go off to the side. It has a industrial and like prison-y feeling to it even in this point, although like I said, everything is well kept and nice. But as you all come out and are having this conversation and then eventually get to come through and get cleared to enter, Renee is like just gesturing to all of you, like maybe just maybe just keep your voice down. I have the full report from the job, and I know you must be furious. We were as well. There was how would I say this? There was a let's say a mechanic with a vendetta against the corp. I don't know why.
Convenient, love. This is real convenient.
Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but we're all pretty, especially Ken, is really pissed off about this.
I would be as well. I'm happy that you're here to be pissed off and you aren't I should say cheesed off. She's like self-editing herself because she's in corporate mode. Because the alternative is that you all are dead on that frozen ball of a planet. So, but I want to let you know that that person their employment with the company was terminated. We have looked over our processes in the meantime during your return trip. Can ensure that won't happen again. But I've made sure that you all will have a quiet week or two, the very least, and then we're going to see, what the future holds for jobs beyond that. But I was terrified to hear
Renee,
about the situation.
While I do feel like this is a somewhat satisfactory resolution to the issue, I do feel like it would be helpful if you could find some way to sweeten the pot, at least for my associates. Like I said, 36th percentile at worst for me, but they seem to be much more negatively impacted by it.
If Greenback wasn't there, we'd be dead. Damn, I've gone fucking Southern Belle.
We've been dead. Out of nowhere.
Idea.
I mean, I can
I do declare.
I can put in a pay request as well. I mean, I think an additional hazard pay seems perfectly reasonable in this situation. So let me see what I can do about that. But like I said, in the meantime, you'll at least have a few weeks of just some R&R here back in at the dorm. So let's head that way. It just goes into sort of walk and talk mode.
Are there any?
Has really nice maps too. You can see this really, really long hallway that goes and bends down to this. It's like you go straight and then 90 degree and then 90 degree. Like it almost doubles it back on itself. But you have 10-ish more minutes of just getting to hash this out with Renee.
If there's any maps you want me to show people, you can pop them in the Discord. I'll pop them up. But if they're secret maps or not finished, that's also fine also as well. And I'm basically angling for, are there any special supplies on site that could make my compatriots more satisfied with their 2 weeks of R&R?
Oh, like some, extra good food, that kind of thing. Access to games.
Yeah, any special stock or restricted stock supplies, like any of the good stuff, is what I'm angling for here. And it's very much a practiced, it's very obvious to the rest of the team that I am running essentially a conversational routine to try to mine for this information right now. This is not a charisma. It is awkward in that utterly charming way that only certain people can achieve.
So yeah, I mean, she kind of takes that that might actually be more likely to get through, and certainly faster than going for the hazard pay increase. Well, I do have a friend or two in the cafeteria. I know sometimes they do have special things for sort of the higher levels, the executives. We could maybe try to get you a bottle or two of some liquor. Normally you're not allowed to have that. You all couldn't be drunk on site. That would be bad for me. And she keeps walking through it. Are you really trying to like get something in particular?
Darling,
for yourselves?
listen, listen, love, listen. It's not even like that type of thing. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's the Jello. We want the Jello. Give us the Jello. The jelly, yeah, it's jelly.
We can absolute
that.
I like how we've gone from hazard pay to some alcohol to, hey, you know what? If we could just get the good Jello, if we get the green stuff, not the red stuff,
lime.
Red is fucking bullshit.
Look, I have, like I said, I guess like all of us, I eat in the cafeteria every day. I've got some connections there. We'll make sure you get 2 weeks of guaranteed Jello.
I absolutely want those bottles of booze, though. That is 100% the type of thing that Grebo was angling for.
Not just that, though, but we've got a still on the ship because, of course, we do. But we need some real booze.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me dig around. I'll try to see. I mean, we can get you the Jello today. I know that only takes about an hour to set in the fridge, but the liquor, I'll have to see what I can do. But I'm sure I can get a special requisition, especially with all that you've been through. And I would say too that you all know from when you dealt with Renee before. I would say the feeling that you all probably have off of her is that she is pretty much who she appears to be at face value. She's not you don't get anything feeling that she is shady. She's probably repeating to you what she's told, but she believes it. And maybe a little naive, very nice, but she really likes doing her job and taking care of people like you as she can. There are plenty of people you've not gotten positive intentions from in this facility, but Renee is one of the good ones, as you would say. And yeah, you all come out of this the sort of entrance checkpoint into this large, like I said, very sort of like, you know, gray, angular, sort of brutalist, large concrete, sort of split levels, like little groove patterns, like potted plants and things like that around. But it's a very big area of the main sort of cafeteria and living space. So large dining hall. There's this communal living space for the various residents of this level 1 wing. The overall bunker, like I said, is very large scale. It has 3 level 1 wings, almost each of them identical to each other, like the one that you're in, that all have these sort of large dormitories. So this is like a facility of hundreds of people in similar situations to yours, I would say, to give an idea of scale. So yeah, this room has long tables with sort of built-in stools. They're all bolted to the ground. So that's sort of like built-in, like I said, nicer than, but a little prisonish, a little schoolish kind of a feeling. Big commercial kitchen in one sort of tucked away corner. This large cafeteria, it's all stainless steel. And then to the far side of that space, there's a number of like couches, armchairs, like little gathering areas, like little discussion areas. So it looks a little more intimate than like a waiting room. It's not that kind of thing. A handful of other people in your, contractors in your similar situation as well in here. From here too, you can basically go freely around this area. You can also go to the dorms, which are off to one side. And there's a training facility, which is sort of like a gym, but with a little bit more, some like dummy weapons, dummy suits, those kind of things, like a little more catered to the types of work that you all do. But yeah, that's the space that you're in.
How populated is it?
Right now, it's all running off of that sort of artificial space time. So I would say you're getting here in the early hours of the morning. So like very early. You're getting here about Reese's actual time, like 2 or 3 in the morning. Yeah. And so there are still, some night owls, some people up. It's enough of an environment, populated enough that there's always people. But 5 or 6 other people in this whole large communal space.
So there's space for us to kind of be alone.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. The doorways to the training facility and the door, it's sort of large doorways that go towards the dormitory, have 2 guards, like a guard at each side, but there's not like patrols or anything in this area, right, that you can see.
Get a feed, yeah. Like we've been on all that bullshit. We want real food. Well, quote unquote, real food. Also, we were just promised a good jelly. Yeah, and Renee, as she's welcoming back in, is like, yeah, look, I'll make sure they get, if they don't already have it on hand, they'll get it for you, and it'll be dessert for later tonight, or maybe a little breakfast treat. And she kind of heads back over. You all have dorms, like very basic dorms from when you stayed before the job. She lets you know that those are still there, and heads off to the cafeteria there as you go about.
Are these solitary dorms? Like, is this like, hey, you've each got your own little pod room, or is this like, hey, there's us in a room with a bunch of other people? What type of dormitory setup is this?
They are 4-person dormitories. So actually,
we have a dorm.
You all have one, which is not. I didn't plan that. It just is a 4-person dorm. It just happened to work out. But yeah, so it's like it's like lowest staff get these 4-person dorms, and then it goes up, and so the higher floors, because this whole room you're in is probably like a 6 or 8 story massive room. Like it feels like you're outside, even though you're underground when you're in this large communal space. That some of the higher rungs of the ladder live in the higher levels of the dorm and have their own spaces and lofts and things like that. So you're all headed to get food?
I want food. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, you go up. I mean, it's a 24-hour facility. There's stuff always going on, but the the food at this time of day has been a little under heat lamp or on the little boiler thing for a while. But there is still a decent selection of fairly stock standard things.
But it's fresher than anything we've had in weeks. Also.
Yeah, square pizza, square kind of bland pizza, some like rice and beans, those kind of things, things that work well in bulk, that you can go through as you all go to get in line, especially I think with how chatty Ken has been. Another contractor from this area kind of like comes up right next to you, Ken, as you're going through line, and you recognize this person from just a few days before you left on that last op, in this area. Sort of a little bit of like a middle-aged guy, very sort of like little skittish, anxious kind of, always has that little bit like a slightly on edge feeling.
Yep.
But has a name tag on his jumpsuit that says Long. He is somewhat talkative, so you might have met before, but he comes up to you and is just like, "So how did your job go?"
Oh my God, Long. It's been like, I'm sorry for this, but like it's been like so long.
You can call me Sonny. Sonny's my
Sonny. I'm sorry.
Keep it professional.
One, I just want to know two things. I'll answer your question as number second. I just want to make sure that the fundo machine. Did the fundo machine get fixed? I'm here for the fundo, man.
I don't really know. I haven't really been keeping eyes on the machines. I don't know what that is either.
It's okay, Long. Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Like, listen. So, like, the job, it was fucking bullshit from the start. It was go get this guy. He works for the corporation, and we get there, and he's not there, and then it's like, oh, he's been fired, and blah 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 blah. It's like it's nothing. Don't even worry about it.
It was bullshit.
You all made it out at least. But what did they tell you? Are they going to send you off to another one, or what happened? What was the deal with it? They've got hundreds of us here, right? I don't know. I've been sitting here for the last looks at his space watch, 3 weeks waiting for a job. All I get to do, this is my exciting. This is the excitement of my day. I get to talk with people coming in, but it seems like a lot of people are having not good jobs. Yes, so I wanted to know, what did they tell you? What's happening? Well, if they're coming back at all.
Yes, this job was in at best the 36th percentile of acceptable jobs.
That seems higher than a lot of other people would have described theirs as being.
I should clarify, 36th percentile for me, significantly lower for the rest of the crew.
Did you hear anything about a mechanic?
Mechanic? No, no. What about a mechanic?
We had a problem. We had a problem with the ship. I'm just kind of like looking around a little bit, feeling a little bit maybe more paranoid.
Sonny's like, a problem with the ship, and then like gets extremely quiet when you all pass the cafeteria worker who's just like slopping stuff on and is like probably couldn't care less, but yeah, it's like the problem with the ship. Super quiet when you're walking out.
Ken found it. It was sabotage. We looked it over.
Like, listen, if it wasn't sabotage, it was definitely some form of like sabotage.
I'd call it sabotage.
But you're asking about a mechanic. So did Renee tell you something about it?
That's what Renee said. Renee said it was a rogie.
Did we just
Renee? So like she said just a mechanic had a thing out against you,
or the company, or the company. I don't. She wasn't very clear. Let's say she was very apologetic, but we're getting some Jello.
But the process has been corrected for the future. Also,
I feel very much like collateral damage in this.
I think a lot of people here don't like the company, but it seems a little strange to send 4 of your coworkers to their death for it, right? Why wouldn't you do it on if you're a mechanic, couldn't you do it on one of the execs ships?
Oh, maybe it
Mhm.
was a dumb mechanic.
He goes down and is like squeezing like a ton of ketchup on top of this like mashed potatoes he got. Very, like I said, very sort of like sporadic and anxious, and I don't know. That doesn't, I mean, well, I mean, you all think what you think, but I don't know what I think about that.
I look at the person behind the other side of the counter and I look at what Sonny is eating and I say, I'll have what he's having.
And they just put this big ladle of this very gray mashed potato and slops some on, and then sets it up and just goes, you'll have to put your own ketchup on.
Like potatoes and Vicodin for me.
I just want the beans, please.
Is the Thunder
this
machine
lady-
working?
It's dark, slightly darker gray.
It's still
No,
potatoes.
machine's-
It's just bean shaped.
Machine's broken. They said they can't get the parts
We're back.
for it, but I don't think they care to.
Dag nabbit.
I imagine
I
if they
mean-
I imagine if they wanted to harm an executive's ship. I say too loudly. That there would probably be far more scrutiny than if they just harmed it of normal workers.
That's me, normal worker.
Right. It's
Mm.
it's strange because even on the planet, like everything they told us about what we're looking for, there's no one there, and I mean, we found other people from the base dead in the ice. Like this is all kinds of mess. What have you heard, Sonny, about like the people coming back? What are they telling? Where they been?
I mean, yeah, I don't know how much of it's just me holed up in a place, you know, my brain's trying to entertain itself in the bad way. But I mean, I think a lot of people are coming into situations like yours, like the process isn't up to snuff on the ships, like ships going down out of nowhere, coming into wildly different situations than they're sort of briefed on. I mean, it just seems like a mess. I'm sitting here just basically getting anxious and worried about whatever job I'm going to get sent out on, because I mean, this is a temp job for me, right? I just got outsourced by my other company, and it's like, how long am I going to sit here for 3 months only to get crashed into the side of some comet or something? I don't know. It just seems like it seems scary, because it's either, I mean, at best it's just a terrible system, and at worst it's like, you know, programmed to be that way. But I don't know. And he kind of looks around quietly, and he's just like I said, I think I'm getting myself worked up. I do that a lot with a lot of things, but you know, I've talked to Scarlett in processing. She seemed to she seemed to allude a little bit to some of the same things, as same worries, I guess, as me, and she would maybe know more, right? I'm just like, y'all, I just came in and I've just been sitting here in the rec room for weeks. Takes a huge scoop, a huge, like, gross ketchup and potato bite of this food. He's just like standing near the cafeteria eating this, like holding this thing and eating it. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how if I want to go out on a job at all. But I can't get. They say everything's still in process, and I can't get out. You know, it seems like it might be weeks longer till I'm get out of here one way or the other.
If you'd like, the next time we go on a job, we can request that you come with us.
Yeah, let's see how the next few weeks goes. And he's just like, yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, if you're interested in more, I think Scarlett might know more. I mean, she's in processing, so she's running through a lot of the reports and stuff that you guys see, but I don't know. I'm just trying to stay hush hush about it, because whenever someone talks too loudly about it, it seems to, you know, lead to some sort of follow-up meeting or psych eval or something. So
shit. I didn't even think about that. Ken, I think you need to maybe lower your voice.
Or maybe not. Maybe that's what we do. I don't know. Like, did we get like a read on Scarlet? Like when we came in, like what would our read on Scarlet be compared to like Renee?
Scarlet, I don't think you've probably crossed paths with. Or you're saying Sunny, like who you're talking to.
No, I meant Scarlet, like in processing. Like maybe we've been processed as well, but
no, you would have come through a little bit. Scarlet's an older woman, very sort of like no nonsense, like military cut, gray hair, but I would say you're a little more mixed than Renee. Like I said, Renee has that sort of like naive but very helpful feel. The little you've interacted with Scarlet is that Scarlet's a long-time employee of the Corp, like a long time, like has been here for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But also seems pretty strong-willed and would stick to her guns rather than the Corp's guns, right?
Okay.
Sonny, do you know anybody who's gone through the psych evals?
I mean, it just seemed like it was sort of a, hey, meet with us this time of day for questioning, follow up. They say psych eval, but the few people I talk to, honestly, a lot of people are sick of me asking about everything at this point, I think. But, they just said it's, kind of re-walking through the traumatic things, a lot of like, well, why are you thinking this? Why do you feel that way? And sort of offering other, it sounds like a psych eval, but it's also kind of, maybe getting additional reports of what happened. I don't know. But everyone's come out fine. It just takes time. And
should we try to take advantage of Renee's naivety and push her for information and press her hard? Or do you think we try to go through Scarlet and see if we can't get something from the no-nonsense lady, but by being straight shooters ourselves?
I'm wondering if...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Please.
You got it. No.
Well, I am going. Here I go. Here we are. I'm thinking like maybe what we do is we get these people who've been on these shit missions together instead. I don't know, like if the company is like sabotaging us, you want to be talking to someone who works for the fucking company who's been here for years? I don't know, man.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm more than happy to play Salt, the unionized game in Mothership. This definitely sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun. But at the same time, I feel as though that we're kind of pushing shit uphill a little bit there.
I did find this in-universe zine called Corpo Culture Killed My Dog number 8. Laying in the dorm when we got here.
It also makes sense. Like if it's number 8, there's got to be 1 to 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly 9.
Possibly 9.
Those are all contraband.
Had the bloke who wrote it's a piece of shit anyway.
That's true. That's true.
For people who aren't on the joke, that's another Mothership creation by Christian. That will also work in any sci-fi game you want. Also too. I think the best thing to do, and the one that makes the most sense and is the most logistically sound, is to attack them on all fronts simultaneously.
So what I'm hearing is we split the party and go after both the full-time corpo old lady who's military style, sure, which and then also try to angle shoot the our handler who is naive and young.
Yes. Forcing the G and organizing all of the other employees, forcing the GM to split time
I forgot about
20 NPCs.
Yeah, I forgot about fomenting revolution from within in.
Okay. Well, yeah, like I said in the intro, we're on a more accelerated stream timeline. So why don't we just show off 3 possible branches that you could take all at once? That works fine.
The other thing we really need to do is we need to ensure that we can somehow manage to get 2 NPCs talking together. Because as a DM myself, I know that's the best part of DMing.
Renee, can you please show me to Scarlett's office?
Just 10 minutes of me talking to each other. I used to, brief side thing. I used to actually do that when I did an actual play, a D&D actual play for a long time. And then I just switched to going, this is what they talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I realized
So much
like
better.
nobody needs this.
So much
Christian had
better.
two
So-
camera angles and would go like this as they cut between them. And
That was more advanced, yeah. So then my question I actually love that plan of attack, and I love the fervor of you all coming back and being like, we're supposed to die, we're pissed off, let's go. So who wants to go reconnect with Renee? Who wants to go and talk to Scarlet? And who wants to go probably to the dormitories, it sounds like. I think Sunny would go with whoever is going to try to find some other people who've been in similar situations.
I want to go talk to Scarlet.
Yeah, I'll go with Sunny. I'm also feeling paranoid and twitchy. So
I'll go with Scarlet.
All right, I guess I've got Renee.
All right. So Marco, you were also going. Royce was also going with Scarlet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll say you all take that. You had that basically the in-character version of that discussion you just all had, and are like, we're going. Yeah, it's a odd time. I would say, for the sake of verisimilitude or whatever, we're gonna say you eat, let time pass, because most stuff like people aren't going to be in the office and stuff until 8, right? So we get the cut of like the artificial lighting creeping up.
It's the smash cuts that what's his name, Edgar Wright does, and
that's always what I envision in RPGs.
like the early Guy Ritchie films, where it's just like, yeah, so it's food in mouth, high fives, shower, masturbate, sleep, wake up, conversation.
Yeah, and then it just cuts to you going straight there. So processing is a little ways in to the level 1. So from there you go. When you're in level 1, basically, once you get to the dorm kind of connects out to a few things. There's a training facility, like I said. There is a proper sort of rec room with, various like media things, slickware booths, places to play board games. Like, you could sit around and do make believe with friends, like we do from time to time in real life, those kind of things. And then past that is processing. It's sort of one of the furthest. It's sort of the furthest back sections of this aspect of the clearance. So it's the personnel processing office and small security checkpoint to the level 2 clearance area of the facility, which this is a area that none of you have probably seen. If you did, it was just to go in and correct some records, paperwork, that kind of thing. It's like come back into the bureaucratic center of this place a little more, and then you went back out. There's a processing desk with a terminal at the office's center, really sort of cold blue, sort of like very cool overhead lighting in here, and then several uncomfortable waiting room style chairs. The level 2 doorway on the far end is flanked by 2 guards as well. And in addition to those 2 guards, you can see Scarlet sitting behind the desk. There's one other person waiting in the waiting room right now, and Scarlet's just kind of clacking away, going through some files. Behind her as well, there's like an equipment locker. That's sort of one of those, chained through equipment lockers. Like it's between her desk and where the guards are, that has a number of like security weapons and things in it. An equipment locker where like you can see like stun batons lined up, tranq pistols lined up, those kind of things in here.
Is this a key card situation or a human security level situation, or both? Like,
well,
as you pass through the facility, is it like, hey, you got to swipe things sometimes, or is this mostly like, hey, we position guards at places where people aren't supposed to go to check to make sure only the right people get in?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, it's both. You know that in order to get, you're going to need a level 2. You're going to need someone with level 2 clearance, or you're going to need a level 2 clearance card to grant yourself access to these places.
Cool.
Beyond processing, or
Beyond processing, yeah. So that is the folks coming to talk to Scarlet. That is what you see.
I'm going
She
to
kind of just points, like gestures to you, and then like points to the chair to sit and wait, like get in line.
I'm gonna nudge the person waiting and say, "Hey, can we go before you, please?"
I got no place to be, man. He just gets up and scoots down.
What are people
Plops
in
down.
line for? Like, I mean, I know they're in line for processing, but what does that mean?
Typically the people coming through here are newly outsourced individuals, right?
Okay.
Who have just arrived at this facility, and they're going to put all their records through and benefit things and give their past work experience and those kind of things. But you also may go through processing as part of a follow-up from a mission or something like you did too. It's anything that's personnel information info.
Cool,
basically.
perfect. How backed up is she?
She just has that one person that you just asked to sit aside.
Marco, do you want to take the lead?
Sure. Yeah. The first thing I'm going to do is tell any security guard, hope you're having a good morning. We're very happy to be back. Scarlet, are you free for us?
Well, she looks over and sees that the guy you talked to had moved down and is like, sure, I've got to see y'all anyway. Come over. She gestures for you to come over. There's 2 chairs in front of this desk.
I'm here to be processed.
Yeah, you let me see. She like looks at 2 of your 2 name badges and everything, and you hear her entering something on her terminal. Pulls it up. I mean, looks like you're in the system and everything. We've got you just came back from a job. So good work out there. What were you told you needed to come to processing for?
Oh, just interested in talking to you about the job. What do we have? What do we have to look forward to? Do you know anything about this this last fun-filled mission we went on?
Well, just from what I'm looking at right now in the report, I mean, looks like it went pretty south pretty quickly. It's pretty spectacular that all 4 of you made it out the way you did. Wasn't expecting that when I first pulled this up. I mean, just looks like one of those things, right? Everything's bad. Was there something especially wrong about it? And she kind of gives you like a little bit of like a squinty eye at this point. And like, you see her eyes like jump to the guards for a split second before they jump back to you.
I go, the number of inconsistencies in the expected job to the final job and I just enter into long form, as mundane as possible, like every single thing, including like technical and grammar errors on the job prospectus, through the absolute batshit weird, like, hey, there were dead people, like, but everything is presented in the exact same flat monotone. I'm just rattling off a report at a very typable speed for a process server, list of everything that was incorrect about the job when we got there.
96 words
with no inflection of judgment. Just it's literally a fact thing.
Okay, and she's kind of clicking away and like doing a little handwritten note next to it. Well, I mean that's a lot of inconsistencies, and I was actually just looking through here, and yeah, I think we're gonna want to make sure to correct some of those. So I'm gonna need the 2 of you to go and speak with Marge in records. That's in level 2, but I will have Dawn here. She points up. I'll have Dawn let you through here, and if you just go and talk to Marge in records, just tell her that your performance review needs updating. Okay. She like really stresses that if she says it to you, and then
that's a trap.
It says,
trap.
But yeah, because like I said, we don't want those kind of inconsistencies there. And she's speaking suddenly, like when she says these things, they're much louder than her conversation, a little bit more professional sounding of a voice than she had when you first came up. We don't want those kind of inconsistencies to, stick on record. So we need you to go correct those. Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing those to our attention. Don, if you'll let them through.
Scarlett, quick question. Should we be going with our other crew members, or is this an individual?
Oh, I mean, I'm happy to. We can wait a few if you want to gather the rest of your group. I mean, it sounds like your friend here points to you, Greeback, has pretty extensive records. But yeah, I mean, it's always good to have all perspectives.
I mean, if you would like, I can just present the information.
Perfect recall.
It might not. Yeah, she's like, it might not hurt to have everyone there, but it's up to you. And she kind of has like a little bit of concern in her eye towards you, Royce, as she says that, of kind of like, you kind of get the feeling that she is concerned for either approach.
Greeback, do you have a preference to wait it out to bring everyone with us, or do you want to have Dawn bring us?
It seems silly to delay for just updating records.
Okay. Let's go see Marge.
All right. Don, if you'll let them through, and you see him, he pulls this key card, like it's on the little stringy attached thing to it, scans these doors, and these big sort of, they're like very, not like blast doors, but they're like very heavily locked and closed doors open, and the two of you are able to head on to level 2.
Oh, before we do that, I turn to her and say, oh, I almost forgot. Can you please make sure this is noted? And I open my mouth, and Renee's voice saying that she's going to ensure we get hazard pay comes out of my mouth. Like the recording of the conversation comes out of my mouth.
Yes.
She's like, well, that's on payroll, but I can send a message.
We just want to make sure it gets into the system.
She starts clicking away, and then as you all are heading down the hall, she's like, next to that guy, and he's like, oh my God, like he's been he just hates everything about life. All right, well then we'll cut back to so it was just Ken, right, who was going to talk to
it was just 10 going to Renee.
Yeah, so you're able to find Renee has a small sort of like office near her dorm on the lower levels of the dormitory, because she essentially is just a handler for everyone most of the people who live in the dorm. She's one of a few, but you are able to find her there.
Or is she more like she has a room with 3 other people?
No, she's like the RA in college, right? Yeah. She has her own room on the multi-person dorm floor and her own little office.
Your mom.
So yeah, you're able to find her there. She's doing the same, sort of just getting to work since it's the morning kind of a thing.
Yep.
Oh, Ken. Hello.
Yeah, Renee, how you going? Shit, I went full bogan. I'm so sorry.
She's like a little, even just like seeing you like come into the threshold of the door, you can tell that she gets a little anxious just because your energy was so much yesterday that she's like, oh, and internally you can tell she's a little like, oh boy.
Yep. Listen, Renee, I'm really sorry about yesterday. It was a whole situation. We're not going to go through that again. Okay. Let's just, you and me have a dialogue. We'll sit down. We'll talk about it. I got a beer for you. And I pull out a shitty like red Solo cup beer that I got that I jacked from the canteen.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's like they don't have a liquor, but they have like it's super low alcohol content. It's
this is classic Utah beer, like sub 2% alcohol by volume.
Yeah, 1.2% or whatever. And she's
we
like,
get beer tickets on the way through, and we're only allowed 2 of them because we're on operations, and as such, we're not allowed to get drunk. But beer tickets have a high premium because they're sold for money, and I definitely haven't done that overseas before. Anyway, moving on. I'm like, I got a beer for you. And I pass her a thing. I'm like, I got myself a cider.
Little early for me on it, but I can put it in the fridge.
Early, darling, please. Early's nothing. I'm going Bogan and freaking Southern Belle. I'm real sorry. At some point, I'll go pirate, and I'm not even sorry about that. Yeah.
What can I help you with though?
So, like, this whole situation, it wasn't great, right?
No, it's terrifying.
Correct. I was just wondering if you could give me the mission briefing, so that when like we go and talk to people, we have it as a physical piece of paper and be like, this is what we were told to do.
Like, you want the original briefing from before you left?
Yeah,
like
please.
what you were
That'd be great. Because like I was supposed to take notes, but I didn't.
I'll have to see if I still have it. And hold on, I got to get the.
Super weird if you didn't, because like big corporation and all that.
I mean, it's not a common request, I guess. Give me a second. She pulls up this big blue binder that says that on it has the corporation name. It's like Employment Manual version 8.51, and opens it, and she goes through. I just need to make sure that I'm following protocol and everything on here.
I sort of I put my hand on the binder and like pull it down just that little bit. And I look at her dead in the eyes and I'm like, Renee, darling, like, you don't need to worry about that. I'm allowed to have it. I was on the mission. Don't worry about it. And then I close the book and I put it aside. And then I put my hand on her shoulder and I'm like, everything's going to be okay. Just get me that mission briefing. That sounded real menacing, and I didn't mean that. Actually,
I'm trying to be like, okay, you said you were like a Valley Girl kind of vibe before.
Yeah.
So it feels a little menacing, I think, though. To her, and she's just like, the only reason I say is because I'm worried about it is because missions like the one that you were just on sort of get their own classification, right? Like,
what's
clearly things went wrong. Well, the mission briefing, like someone from level 2 came and debriefed me on that before I debriefed you. And as part of that, they pick up.
To you, love? Just tell me, darling, who spoke to you? I'm going Southern Belle. I'm sorry. Southern Belle now. Let's just lean into it.
She's like, let me look. And she has a little, like her computer terminal.
Yeah.
That she goes back through, and because she's trying to like look at her past message, basically.
Yep.
It was an agent. Oh, what department was it from? Let me see. It was someone from. No, not. This is a marketing message. It's not marketing. Records.
Housekeeping
was no, it was it was someone from Mendoza's office, and Mendoza's the head of security that you haven't really seen except in passing because he operates out of higher level clearance.
He's the head of security.
Yeah, it was someone with they came through from Mendoza's office to sort of follow up. They call them what's the word that I'm looking for? Like disaster ops, right? Like it's where everything went wrong. It's not disaster though. Catastrophic. That's the little tag that gets added, like tag catastrophic. So maybe if you got a chance to talk to someone from maybe if you could talk to someone from Mendoza's they could give you more.
Of course,
they were Ken, though, they were very clear about how unique that situation was and that it had been dealt with through the mechanic in the hangar bay.
Of course. Renee, I'm not trying to say this with you or that anything happened because of you or that you as our handler are at fault here. I'm just trying to find out what's happening so that when we go into our debrief later on, everything's okay. I'll take a long sip of my cider. And I pause as I look around her room. What sort of like situation do we have going on here in her room?
In her, this is like her little office. It's pretty stock standard. It's
Yep.
nice. I mean, it has a few little sort of like, cutely framed things, a little bit of a hint maybe into some of like her past things, like little, little cute like stuffed figurine, or like a little figurine on the shelf of in between books, that kind of thing. There's only so much of that, almost anyone except executives are allowed to bring in. There is a large file folder behind her, because they do typically like hard copy, like within the facility they try to hard copy that stuff so they can really track who has what, and they don't have to worry about things getting like copied physically. So she does have
would you say
file
she's sort of like
cabinet behind her.
Would you say that she's sort of like pushing the line with her quote unquote flair here?
Yeah, I think that is something she hasn't thought about since she's come in. So she's gone a little, she's made her friends with the cafeteria that maybe have something, they can sneak some stuff in through what comes in, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just look at her and I'm like, Renee, like everything's gonna be okay. You just help me out, and I won't tell anyone about that the cat photo over there and the little bobblehead dog guy. Like everything's fine. Don't worry about it, love. You remember Mendoza's man's name?
I think his name was he was Officer Marks. Marks, I think.
Cool. I thought it was Marx, and I was really concerned.
That's why I remember it, because I thought it would be the other way. But
yeah, of course, of course.
It's pretty similar to the debrief that they typically have you guys go through, but for me, it was kind of strange. But this is, it's not my first catastrophic op, but it's the first one in a little bit for the cases I handled.
Of course, love. Of course. Like everything's fine. Don't even worry about it. It's okay. Now, my next question is, and this is the most important one, is Greeback. They're I don't know, like they're kind of this like they need their own charging bay. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to say that they're encroaching on our space, but like their own charging bay. What do you reckon we can do about that?
I mean, that's not really. I'm not in charge of the rooms. It sounds like they'll need to file for a.
But like I thought you were the dorm mom.
Through human resources.
I thought you were dorm mother. And like,
no,
isn't Angela really a human?
She pulls up the manual again and is like, "Well, first of all, I'm not even going to get into that today." And she points on the manual.
I tried. I'm sorry. I had to give it a shot.
Like she pulls up this page that's like, all special accommodations must be placed with human resources in level 2.
All right, level 2. No worries. I'll remember that. Because Greenback's been looking for his own charging station for a while. Wow, I'm texting now.
All right, we cut from that to Riley and Sunny. So Sunny has basically just been giving you a list. It sounds like if you're like, I'm interested in what we can do to kind of like foment something here. He's like, well, these are all the people I talked to. And, he lists off more like names and crews than you can count. Like all told, he probably tells you like 12 or 15 different people. We can more or less play this out sort of montagey for the sake of yours, I think, since you want to talk to so many people. So what is your approach? He especially with the last scene we just had, he more or less walks you through a number of other people who've gone through sort of catastrophic ops, right? These same sort of situations. But what's your approach as you're kind of going through the dorms with him, trying to find some of these people?
So basically, I'm just trying to find some people who are like sympathetic to like taking this higher, right? So maybe like trying to like go through the ranks through human resources to like really make a complaint up higher, and then like telling the people who seem like really ticked off about it, like our plan is like we're gonna crack some skulls, we're gonna go up higher, and we're gonna try to get the fuck out of here. Like, they're gonna try to kill us. Don't scare the others, don't scare the normies, whatever, just
so of the like 15 or 20 people that he like these crews make up that he lists off to you, going through and meeting for the next several hours trying to talk to some of them, you get the sense that most of them are like, no, it's fine, it was bad, I'm trying to put it behind me, that kind of thing. There are definitely, you know, a smattering of that group that are like, yes, that absolutely like put a more thorough complaint in place. Obviously, this wasn't just one rogue incident. If that's what they told you, if something similar happened to us, something similar happened to that. The other thing I'll ask is, well, yeah, let me see. What does this look like as you and Sunny are like going around? Is it literally just him being like, oh, I know they're in 4B. Let's go talk to them there. Like, or are you sitting around, you know, like around waiting to see who passes? Like, what is that? How are you having these conversations?
I guess like trying to be a bit like chill, you know, like sitting down and having a talk, and then like, oh well, if like these people are here, like, oh, when's the last time you see them? Maybe trying to cross paths with them like on accident, like in their normal routine kind of bit, because Riley is feeling really like everyone's watching or whatever, especially for like places where the guards are posted, like trying to, you know, avoid those locations as much as possible, avoid the eyes.
Okay. Yeah, and after you come out of that little bit of conversation, or like that hour or two of conversation with various people, yeah, you get, I think, probably like 3 or 4 other very gung-ho folks, like guys that are like, yes, you know, that were as riled up as Ken was when you came off the ship. That's like, I will gladly beat up one of these security guards if it means that, you know, someone's going to listen to me a little more, that kind of thing. So you come out with, you know, you have some backup here in level 1 is what I'll say. Probably like 3 or 4 individuals who will cause a ruckus on your behalf. But they're just kind of like, yeah, man, like, you know, the general consensus you get is people that are like, I want out of here. I know that it's, you know, there's always a reason for why we can't get out of here. And I'm sick of sitting around, right? And we're all, you know, they're kind of like hyping themselves up. Like, you know, we're all like the people they send out for these kind of jobs and these ops. Like, we can take them. They're just chumps to sit around all day and guard a door, you know, that kind of thing of like, they're kind of riling themselves up. But, you know, they are willing to, and even Sunny is kind of like nervous generally about like, not sure if maybe he's willing to make that jump. Especially at this point, not even having gone on a job, but yeah, you've got this small posse at your call, I will say. So
maybe like as well, if I see Ken trying to like rope Ken back in to this, if Ken's walking around after he's seen Renee. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, you rope Ken back in, and then. Sorry, I'm keeping all of our spinning plates. This 3-way party split. Yeah, you definitely feel like, yeah, like you said, once you start talking about it, you can tell that there is this tension roiling under the whole group here of a lot of people have been put in very traumatic and deadly situations, and, you know, are more than already being pushed to the point to do something, especially just being similar contractors like yours. These are typically people that are a little more action oriented than, say, the general population. So Grubeck and Royce, you're making your way into level 2 as we kind of leave these are sort of like hurried discussions, quiet discussions off in the corner of the level 1 sort of general sitting area with the rest of the group. As you make your way into level 2, let me tell you what you find. So you are going. So you know this is like has the little like a hospital, almost like lines painted along the wall that go over the floor. Like you can just follow the signage and these like a single color line to get where you need to go. So you're looking to get to records. Records from where you are is sort of in the very center of the facility. So this side of the whole facility that your level 1 area is on comes in. This feeds into sort of a large housekeeping like area, which housekeeping here is like general janitorial. This, you know, like I said, it's a hundreds of people facility, so like massive industrial washers and dryers. Lots of like this staff that works in this facility to like take care of everyone has all of their lockers here, like a little break space and like I said, like lines of lockers, little dressing room sort of vibe with these large industrial washers and dryers and everything on one side, and then from there you're able to go down into a department called alterations, and then past that into records.
Do we get the
What's your
sense from
approach?
housekeeping that this is like, does housekeeping have kind of like they have a level, but is there also like, is there like a pseudo structure of how housekeeping gets around? Like, are there the back tunnels of hotel maintenance that nobody thinks about but absolutely exist in any sort of large hotel for housekeeping?
Not that you've seen. Like, you've never
Okay.
seen someone come out of a door in the dorm that you can't go through.
Well, I mean, in most hotels, you can also go through them if you know where they are. They just, most
there's
people don't.
internal superstructure.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that you can think of seeing here in the
Okay.
past. Although, I mean, there are definitely some ventilation things, but it seems sparing. Like there isn't a lot of like, oh, we're loading in through here,
Gotcha.
because the facility is always so focused on that security checkpoint thing.
And we're being
You've seen them
escorted,
just
right?
come through. You were the Scarlet spoke to the person basically at the door and got you through that door. You aren't being escorted right now.
Don the Seki.
Oh. Hey, but we know where we're going as far as records. Like, we know how to get there.
Yeah, they gestured like, yeah, follow the sign, line to records, don't tarry about. The security guard guy was like, don't hang around any place you're not supposed to. Just go there and come back, kind of a thing. But
are the lockers, do they seem available, or are they all like, locked up?
No, there aren't too many that have locks on them. So it's like they look like they're in use, but it's like, at least a lot of places I've worked where there's lockers where it's like everyone just kind of gets used to like, that's my locker, and is putting their stuff in it. So not a ton of locks. Definitely, I mean, dozens of lockers in here. Some are just open and empty, but others seem to be in use.
And no like large sounds or anything that tells us that a guard might be near us, or do we have a sense of it being populated? Or
no guards in here. There are a few workers on the far end, and then there is this sort of loud, like medium level background noise of these big industrial washers and dryers and stuff that are kind of always going.
I get the feeling in this facility that we are probably almost always on camera at some point in time. Is that the case or not? Not in the sense of like oppressive whatever, but in, hey, this is corporate whatever. There's
assume,
cameras
yes,
fairly consistently, and wherever
there are lots. Yeah, there's like 100% coverage at every checkpoint, and there are lots of other cameras throughout the facility that you've seen.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
I go down the hallway following the sign to records.
I'll trail.
Okay, you're going there as well. Yep. So then you have to cut through the alterations department. This is a big, even more sort of dry, drab, severance style office than any component that we have seen here so far.
I forget my personality as I become the version of myself that I am in this space.
It sounds like you don't. It sounds like your personality as is for your character. A dozen prefabricated cubicles, each with like a desk, chair, filing cabinet, and terminal on them. You're coming in during the day, so there are a number of clerks in here occupying like 3/4 or so of these cubicles, and this is where file and sort of background report and file changes are made. It's not records, which is what you're going to. This is like outgoing, basically like outgoing things that are dealt with the rest of the world beyond. It is. It's called alterations.
I have a subsurface scanner.
That's such a good.
I'm just gonna fiddle with it. Am I getting anything? Am I able to see, adjacent rooms or anything?
We just really want there to be secret rooms. we're
Marco's read this adventure. He knows what's up.
Hey! I'm just saying. I don't know.
Well, go ahead. So you're just trying to scan through. You can see that there's definitely let me look at It's been a while since I looked at the map. Let me make sure I'm not making up this.
Making up extra rooms.
Yeah. So you can tell, I mean, everything here is thick, fortified. It's a bunker, right?
Yeah,
Thick,
I figured
fortified
it
concrete. But you still can, I think, see, you can definitely tell what's like concrete or stone and then what is something else when you're like scanning around. You can look below you, you can tell that there is still that pretty like uniform amount of this sort of poured concrete underneath the flooring of this room you're in. But beyond that too, you see sort of like very heavy metal, like very thick steel or possibly even stronger metal that seems to be like, you know, as you kind of look around, you can tell that it's like outlining a room probably below you. But it's something that comes across like very unbreakable. Beyond that, scanning through, I mean, you can obviously look through the cubicles and stuff in this room. You can see some wiring that's running to connect these various terminals, things like that.
How many people are here?
There are 9 clerks here right now. And actually, go ahead, Tony, and roll a d10 for me. This is a typical session with me, by the way. The first die roll happens an hour and a half into play.
4. and it's a random table roll.
Well, I'm just like, if we're not fighting things, you know, I'm just in. We're just make believing. Well, sorry, what did you say?
4.
Okay, let me get back to my page for that.
Oh,
Yeah, so even as the 3 of you come in, especially with this scanner, like looking around with the scanner real quick as you're sort of also walking, the clerks here are pretty cautious of you and kind of like looking over their cubicle and looking down, and you hear a little whisper or two. So you can tell that their eyes are on you.
I pause and I turn to them and I say, "Mondays, am I right?" And then I keep on going.
Working hard or hardly working, guy.
Well, don't take my next line, all right?
I'm sorry, Tony.
Did they respond at all?
It's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, one of them is just like, yeah. And then as you make your way out to, you know, you just hear them being like, what was that about? Who are those guys? Making a little small talk between them. Then from there, you come out into records. The other area, you know, the other like signage you saw through this hallway that's leading off, like the other little lines leading to other things in this section. The other departments in this section are research and development, bookkeeping, and secondary processing, which you would have gleaned enough that secondary processing is likely how you're going to get to the level 3 clearance, which is even deeper into the facility than this. But you come out straight into records. From records, this is like big hard copy storage, years worth of operational filing here for reference and proof as needed, possibly, you know, sent from time to time to alterations and passed out from the facility from here. 5 rows of floor to ceiling binder shelving, one corresponding to each year, like each is like for a whole year of operation from one side of the room to the other. And behind, there's basically always a filing clerk here as well, but Marge is here.
And you said I know we're in records now, and I'm not going to try to backtrack on that, but secondary processing, records, and bookkeeping.
Bookkeeping and R&D are the other ones on this floor. You walk right into records, but like there are basically 3 ways out.
Got you.
You know,
so
other 3
records
cardinal
is
directions.
Essentially the hallway between these rooms, also too.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, what do we R&D here? Does anybody know? Is that like a commonly, or what are we told we R&D here?
You wouldn't know for sure because you don't ever hear much about R&D. I think you would think that the assumption most people are making is that they are researching and developing new, you know, equipment and techniques for these various kind of operations you could send out on. Typically like high value, deadly, you know, it's like, oh, they're probably doing new equipment to outfit us with next time, those kind of things.
Okay. Cool.
But you don't know. You've never met someone who works for R&D, like that kind of thing in your few weeks here.
Gotcha.
So you walk in and see Marge.
Hello, Marjorie.
older woman. It's just Marge.
Oh,
Can I help you?
Hi, Marge.
Hello? Yes.
We were sent
Hello?
here by Scarlet. Did she not make you aware of our impending arrival?
No, we don't, talk all the time. Couldn't have taken you that long to walk here.
Oh, I
Take a
didn't know
seat.
she put something into the system. I'm sorry.
She's like, take a seat and maybe keep your voice down. You said Scarlet sent you?
Yes.
Okay. What was it about?
She said, and then I opened my mouth and the thing that Scarlet told us to do comes out of it.
I was pinching myself. I was like, oh my gosh, I just spaced all what Scarlet told us.
And she's just like, well, okay then. And then we'll come back to the other group right now. But she seems to be like, oh, like Marge seems to be very like, when you say that. So the others, Ken, Riley, Sonny, the posse of, meatheads who are ready to throw down. What all are you doing?
I guess, I don't know, unless I guess, was Renee supposed to get back to Ken with something as well in the meantime, or was that kind of bookended?
No.
Yeah, it's kind of bookended.
My understanding is that mine and me and Renee are done. We need to go and speak to either Officer Marks, who is part of our Agent Mendoza's lot, or we can meet up with the other guys in quote unquote the rest of the story.
Right. So I guess like maybe as well, I think Riley is probably like getting like anxious about the fact that the others aren't back yet, because it's been like a few hours, right?
Yeah.
So
Easy.
Yeah, like this is a normal. Maybe is this the time to move, Ken?
Yeah, like I agree, Riley. I think what we need to do is, I think we need to build on the momentum we have, fomenting this insurrection, where we can then ensure that. And I do like the look around. You and me can get out. Now, I want Rice and Greeback to be here, but wow, I'm fucking Fran fine. I just don't know, you know what I mean? Like, are we in a tight spot?
Feels pretty tense. Yeah, I think but we can't leave without them. They went up. Do we go to level 2 first? Because basically the hangar is on this level, right? If we were trying to get out, that was like the only way we know.
It's far. It's like you go back to that security checkpoint, and then it's like a far trek down this large hallway, like I had said, to the hangar.
Yeah, and then there's also the
AI
gens and stuff.
What's that?
Does our ship have an AI or like a robotic overlord?
You don't. Yeah, I mean, you don't have a ship of your own. You just have the corporate ship that brought you here. It was piloted by a human pilot, though.
Okay, cool. Do we have human pilot, the man's details? Like, do we have them on comms? Do we have their name outside of human pilot?
No.
Damn,
I mean, you knew the person the person who flew you back was Pilot Sanchez, but that won't be the next person who flies you out. That wasn't the same person that was with you before. It's all very compartmentalized.
Cool.
In that corporate way. As the two of you start looking around, you see like a third, like a guard come out from the direction of where processing is on that first floor, and is kind of speaking to the other two guards in the larger sort of general, like communal living space here. And just because I think it sounds like especially Riley, you're like a little on the is this about to happen? Is this going on? Yeah, you can see that this one guy comes out and he gestures, and they're starting to point over in the direction of you and those other people you were meeting with.
Riley, are we in trouble right now?
So I think might be go time.
Remember, the go word is Oklahoma, and I just start walking towards the guards.
Yeah, I'll join behind. Maybe like I don't know. I have an electronic tool set. That's probably not anything especially sharp in there. But
There's a thing called
like a little-
screwdrivers. They
yeah,
go
little-
into people's
even-
necks real good.
the little one. Right?
So-
It's like super.
Yeah, as you all are getting up, I mean, I think one or two of these other crew members that you talked to, like, he's like, "That's. I mean, are we just rushing him?" He's like, "Do you want us to like cause through? You know,
The go word's
distraction?
Oklahoma. We spoke about this. Oklahoma.
okay." They put their thing up and kind of sit back and like looking tough but chill as they await Oklahoma. As you make your way over to the guards now, the guard who came out and one of the additional, so like two of the three guards start to make their way over to you as well. What are you doing?
I guess
Everyone here take stress.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm supposed to say take stress. Take a stress.
Fair,
Take D5 stress, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, bitch.
Oh, for sure.
You're about to maybe start an uprising in a heavily secured facility.
Ooh, daddy, no. I just got a 5.
Well,
Okay.
all right. I think Riley Blake's. We had some. Our crew went through the processing and not been back for a while. You know what's up?
I mean, there could be a whole smattering of reasons. I'm sure they're just following up with some sort of debrief or bit of record keeping. But it's interesting you actually came to ask. We'd like you to come with us for some
I
follow
stabbed one
up
of them in the
psyche
throat
val.
with a spear hand. I'm just like, bam.
All right. So go ahead and roll damage for me. They definitely weren't expecting this to pop off.
Yeah. Shit.
Just so you guys know as well, the guards, these like level 1 guards have like standard battle dress on, stun batons, and like comms, those kind of things. But they aren't like a, you know, they don't have guns.
I do 4 points of damage. I'm just trying to like stun the bloke so I can take advantage of him being stunned.
Okay. 1 second.
Sorry, I'm kind of popping off here.
No, that's fine. Pop off. Like I said, you know, this isn't a long session or a multiple session thing. So always pop off. All right, you come in pretty hard with this on the guy. He's definitely, yeah, I mean, definitely dazed. Like I said, they did not like, I don't know, you know, like, they have not had this kind of a confrontation in probably ever in this facility. So you blindsided them pretty literally. So he's just like, oh, and taken back. And then the other guards are just starting to react.
As I strike out with the throat punch with the inside of my my webbing of my thumb and forefinger, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach up with my opposite hand and wrap around his head into a guillotine and pull him down and then reach for his stun baton while I'm choking him out.
Okay, go ahead and do a strength check for me.
Sure. Strength check.
With advantage, because you've got, you know.
Stat advantage.
Yeah, right? Strength? Yeah, that's
yeah, it's strength roll.
Like I said, I feel so out of sorts. It's been a long time, like a long while for me, which is like a month and a half or something since I ran. So I feel like I'm
yeah, sick.
So because of the, you know.
Yep. I got a 39 under 40 on advantage. The other one was 99, which I'm real happy about.
you do exactly as you executed there. You pull the stun baton out. The 3 posse members you have are starting to stand up.
It's like Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. I was going to say one of them was holding the others back, awaiting Oklahoma.
Riley's probably shouting Ohio in the meantime. Ohio. Forgot.
I throw the stun baton that I've disarmed from this bloke to Riley. I'm like, just fucking use it. Don't even care. Just zap him. Zap him.
Not gonna think, swinging just blindly in front. Not even thinking.
Okay. Yeah, and the other guy, like one of the guys just like grabs a chair. One of them just has like a metal bowl that you get from the cafeteria, right? One guy goes over and there's like the planter, like I said, like these nice sort of planters, these big like green plants, and he just pulls one of the plants out, so it has like the big ball of dirt like with all the roots on it, and these guys like I said, these are like bar fight aficionados, the posse that you've picked up. So they just start running in. So go ahead and roll damage on the stun baton for me.
All right, that's a D.
Now, is this the
D5?
same guard that got blindsided or the other one?
Oh, this would be someone else. He's got, since Ken is like headlocked this other person on the ground. I just forget what the stun baton damage is. Let's take a look real quick.
I think it's D5 and they body save.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Unless I'm going.
That is a 5.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you want to hang on a second, I can download it from the place.
I got it open. I
got it too.
Sorry, I'm a bad worked on Mothership guy and definitely don't have a copy of it on my laptop. Yeah, and I definitely wasn't involved with ensuring that the damage of everything made sense and stuff either. That 100% wasn't me.
So how much damage did you do to them?
It was 5.
Dang. All right. You guys are rolling strong. Yeah. So you hit real hard and just like sink just hit. Both the hit is hard and you like hold it there and just like this other guy, and he just kind of like drops and is like shaking, stunned for a round as the Oklahoma crew makes their way this way too. The one guy's being held, the one guy's down. The other guard who was back by the door has like drawn his stun baton, and well, I'm going to say the Oklahoma crew is going to get their chance to shine here. They weren't that far away, so let's see how they do here. Ooh, not wonderfully, but one of them does connect pretty well. Yeah, so this last guard had more time, right? Pulls his stun baton out, is kind of going to like his comms as well. When the first guy comes in, one guy like wings the bowl, the guard dodges it, the other guy like swings down with a chair, and the one guy sidesteps it, and you're like, oh wow, this guard, like, this guy is good. And then sort of like suddenly from like a underswing, he just gets hit with this rooty ball of potted plant, like the clump at the bottom of this torn out potted plant, and just like dirt goes flying everywhere, and he kind of gets knocked back before coming back as well on his own, attempting to swing with his stun baton, but sort of being knocked off kilter as well. So for the moment, all of these guards are not completely incapacitated, right? But like very stunned and out of it for the moment. So what all are you trying to do?
So I think Riley's going to go for just like the kind of like, not finish him, just kind of stun him, just kind of stick it like on the guy's neck that he's like limp, and just try to like knock him out with the stun baton, make sure at least one is not going to get back up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can, the guy who was already down, you can have to spend your time to be like,
just to get him done, right?
Yeah, passes out or whatever for sure. What about you, Ken?
Ken's gonna, so he's got the guy in like the guillotine hold. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna just sort of leap up and wrap his legs around the hips, and as they both go down, he's just gonna like stretch out and choke the motherfucker out.
Okay, so I would say you, for both time's sake and because you already got the roll, I'm going to say that you're able to do that as well. And the Oklahoma crew just starts going. I think like, that they've got this one guard handle, like the guard is occupied. So whether or not you want to take him out, or if you want to go to whatever your next objective is, you can. After a few seconds, like 10 or so seconds of this, to the group that is behind, like in level 2, in records, you hear come over the loudspeaker there, you hear like, it's like disruption in level 1, security requested. As something gets radioed in from one of the other guards on level 1. What are the two of you up in the fray doing now that the guards you were immediately faced with are occupied, but more on the way? Like, where are you going? What's your goal?
I think we know we need a pilot to get out of here, right? So we need Royce.
Yeah, we need Royce. He's the only pilot I trust.
All right. Well, you know that they were headed. You know that they were headed towards processing and are likely in level 2 if you haven't seen them come out from there. So we'll say that you start that way. All right, we'll cut back to Marge here real quick. What are we at on time? Okay, we still got a little more time.
Like, you guys have just definitely been fucked by me and Chris.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm looking
I
forward.
actually think we're in a positive position because
we're not with you.
Security's on the way to level 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, those guys are the problem.
Yeah, so we cut back and that warning comes across on the radio, like the speaker system internally, and Marge leans back. It's kind of like hunched over the little older woman, like leans back and looks at the speaker and says, "Is that you and Scarlett's doing?" To the two of you.
Why would Scarlett be involved?
Yeah, what's Scarlett up to? You got do you have the tea? And may I have some?
So
hundreds of years ago, the tea meant gossip.
It's still, for some reason, means that. Yeah, you define it there. You have an archaic language module. Yeah, she's like, look, I'm the only one on duty right now, and she lets her sentence hang there in the air, and you see two of these much more outfitted guards, these level 2 guards from this section. They kind of shuffle through the records up past towards the processing area you came through, and then as they pass, she goes, "I'm the only one here, all right? We don't have to beat around the bush, right? I don't need to meet. There's no records you need to be here for. You can just tell me what's up."
I do the same thing I did with Scarlett, where I list off every single inaccuracy from the mission in a long form, just the facts format, including the most mundane technical issues, including how forms or records were filled out properly or improperly, up through all the weird shit we encountered.
What are we getting from Marge? Is she?
Yeah, you're just kind of directed to pass there. As like all these infractions come out to her, she's gonna be like, "Look, I just need to know what you want. Are you looking for a way out of here? Are you trying to get some payback on maybe the people who sent you on the job?" As you can tell, looks around this like boring records room. I am a bit stuck in the middle, but I can point you in the right way.
God, I'm not
like
gonna lie. As a player,
on level 1.
As a player, I was pretty convinced we were coming down here to get killed until this very moment. Like, I was pretty sure we were going to be redacted until just right now.
Redacted.
Yeah, Marco, do you have an impulse here?
Okay. Security alarm is being called to level 1. Marge.
The two of you also take 1 stress from seeing those guards run past you and being in this sort of like, oh, we're in the middle of it. Sorry.
Cool. But Marge didn't stop the guards to make sure we're safe. I feel like we should, based on that, we should say that we just want out. We've heard it takes. Look. All I've heard is that it takes forever to get out of here. We just almost died. Okay. The mechanic was dealt with. I don't have no ill will. I just want to go back to my own mercenary camp because maybe there are safer missions there. We just want out.
Approximately
Well,
35% of the missions I've been on were worse than the mission that we just went on. I do not relish any of those, but I am also okay leaving or okay correcting the issue. I don't have a strong preference one way or the other.
So 35% of the 36 percentiles.
Well, because I'm in the 36 percentile, therefore
Yeah,
there's 35%
35
below
is
that.
worse. Yeah, that checks out.
I am skilled in mathematics, and I agree that checks out.
So, so Marge hears you say that, and she's just like, "Well, I'll tell you what. Trying to get out's harder than trying to get payback, but we can try to make it happen." Truthfully, I'm only saying this because it seems like everybody's headed up to level 1 at the moment. You aren't ever supposed to come back, so getting out's pretty tough. But we can do it. But you're going to need the right clearance if you want to make it to the hangar and you want a ship that can get out of here without getting shot out of the sky. So let me see. And she kind of like clicks around in her terminal, checks the time. So you should be able to go talk to Jasper. It seems Jasper in HR. It's on the south side of level 2. He has level 3 clearance. He could try to get you down, but you're going to have to get to one of the terminals down in level 3 if you want a safe way off. I mean, unless you're planning, I don't know what's going on upstairs, but unless you all are planning to go guns blazing, you're going to need to make the paper trail look like you're supposed to get off.
Do we have a feeling that our attire fits in enough, or to be in like level 2, level 3, or do we feel like we look like we shouldn't be here?
You look a little, yeah. I mean, the fact that you all have sort of like corporate uniform outfits, you've all brought your own sort of kit in. You're still in the clothing for that. You definitely do stick out some. Whereas a lot of like the maintenance crew, right, is of this facility is wearing like provided attire.
Only
the housekeeping has a uniform
where there was attire that we could abscond with. If only we had just walked through someplace like that.
Right.
How weird would that be?
Yeah, I would like to ask Marge for assistance there. Hey, yeah, I want to talk to Jasper. Greenback, I think you should come with me. I would appreciate you coming with me, but I think we need to look the part.
It's like, well, I mean, housekeeping goes everywhere. They're just level 2 like me, but I mean, the director's office can't get dirty, so they're allowed down there. I don't think they've got keys for it, but that's probably your best bet. And try to fit in there. Custodial housekeeping.
It's like a 10-minute walk, 20-minute walk.
Oh, back to there, yeah, like 5 minutes. You're not too far. One big hall, but other than that, you're not too far from housekeeping.
And then, so this whole bit going on the security call. Do you have any information what's going on? When we were here prior, I didn't know there was any issue here.
They haven't quite filed a report yet on whatever's going on right there, so I don't know about it. She says sarcastically to you.
And then, does Marge have any do you have any can you ping Scarlet or Renee?
I can send her I can send her the message via the terminal. I don't know when they'll see it. What do you want me to say?
No, I don't know. Just see if they know what's going on. Susan.
It's weird. They'll probably think it's weird for me, but sure, I'll do it. She sends them a little thing being like, what's going on level 1? Whatever you're doing, though, I would take advantage of those guys having just gone through here, and I'd skedaddle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let Jasper know. We'll head that way. But first, maybe we'll get our suits changed up.
Yeah, I stick my head into bookkeeping real quick.
Okay.
And I just look at whoever's in there.
Yeah. So you look into bookkeeping. This is sort of it's like a single long room, about the same size, like the floor plan size of records you were just in. Reams of plasticine punch cards are all stored in these sort of massive spools, these big collections. There's just one android in here at a very outdated terminal on like just a plain desk. And they are manually entering this sort of ongoing stream of data that is being played from a cassette player sitting on the desk. So it's like think like dial-up modem. It's just playing the data audio. It's a data tape being played out loud that this android is entering manually. And a cart right next to the desk has like hundreds more of these cassettes that seem to be waiting to be processed.
Like dial-up modem, do you mean like that's the type of sounds that are coming out of it?
Yeah, it's what I'm saying is it is a data tape, not an audio tape, but it is being played out loud. Gotcha. So if you've ever heard that,
that's like, fine. That's what I
beep beep boppo beep.
Yeah. So
that's my version.
Then I open my mouth and I say, I inject the data stream that signifies we're supposed to get a hazard pay bump and insert the audio of Renee saying it as evidence within the data stream also too.
Okay, so you're trying to sneak this all in. So go ahead and roll for me on that though. That sounds like an intellect for me.
Sure. I rolled a 15. So I mean, I don't know what exactly my skill is, but I do know I have a bunch of things that support it and that
you're fine.
It's super high. I could look at my character sheet, but I succeed real good.
Now,
yeah. So you do that. You like override and like blare this audio out that sort of overrides to be like, please submit this into the system. The thing, especially being an android, that when you come in, it's like there are parts probably old. The android equivalent of lizard brain, right? There's like old programming in your head that does know. You're able to recognize more of this data noise being played than you thought. And this is like just a list of like the raw data of like all the company's extended operations, dozens of like just names of like listing of dead employees, the remaining next of kin, the nature of their debts that were existing in life, if the company is going to keep them against their next of kin. It's just this massive ongoing sort of like bureaucratic obituaries stream. You're an android, so you're probably fine, but roll a sanity save for me as well. I say that because I believe androids always have high sanity, right? No, they have high fear. They don't have high sanity.
Yeah,
right.
but if we fail on fear, that's when stuff gets real gobbledygook. I'll have to check this one actually. Mothership app. Where are my stats?
The DOS button.
I fail.
Okay, so go ahead and take 1d5 stress from just the exposure of. I mean, I think for you, especially like the personality of Android, you've had the reason that this taking all of this in the way you are stresses you out specifically this way is the breadth of the operation is on display, right? Like this is like you're getting to see the level of situations maybe that you were just a part of is happening dozens and hundreds of times all around you. And who know, how many other facilities are there like this? How many other times has someone tried to escape like this? Are you just going to be a list? You're just going to be a name on a cassette that this guy's going to enter in 3 years. And that's stressful, as it turns out. That's what you see in bookkeeping.
Love it.
But you do get your data entered.
I got my data. I got us the hazard pay, boys.
Fuck yeah, baby.
You just got to get out of here and make sure the check clears.
Right.
Upward inflection was bad.
Who knows how that is going to work out, but yes. So back upstairs
Right.
You were headed towards level 2, right?
Right. I think what might be a good idea is for us to like put on the security gear like real quick.
Oh, you're gonna like stormtrooper it. Okay.
Is Sunny still with us?
Yeah, Sunny's up here.
Let's give Sunny the last one then, if Ken's
the
good with
third.
that.
Okay. So the Oklahoma boys have like knocked this last guy out, and they're kind of like waiting. You know, it's like I think for some reason in my mind they have like backyard wrestling energy. Like they can hear that more guys are coming, and they have like one of them has like a folding chair, but he's hiding behind the door. Like the moment the guy's gonna come out, he's gonna try to blind for this guy. It's that. But you have a few quick moments where you can like frantically try to be like, let's get this battle dress on, like get these guys out of the way over here with this battle dress. A few other people up here are definitely like, a lot of people sort of ran out of the area. You have like one or two more people that have sort of like joined the cause, actually, that are like, oh, like it really popping off from them was like, oh, okay, like maybe I do want to do this. A lot of people have fled from this area, but there's also just like a few like that general like, why we don't even know why these two people are fighting, but there's other people just brawling around, right? Like somebody was like, no, leave that guy alone, and another guy was like, shut up, don't defend the guards, and punched him. And like a bar fight where it's like there's like other little fights along the fringe here, so it's a pretty chaotic situation still in this room. But yeah, you can definitely do that. You each have a stun baton and battle dress, and the level 1 guards carry clearance cards for level 2. So
cool. So I think I'll kind of get Ken and Sunny just like a little huddle and be like, all right, so we got them all riled up. We're gonna send them in, and if it looks like they're starting to lose, we're gonna come in behind and help the.
Nah, man. Nah. Yeah, I like what you're saying, but I think we need to lead from the front.
Yeah.
Like a revolution is only as good as the people who are leading it.
Or maybe we can run by, say that they're back there, right? And we just leave them behind, right? I mean, we gotta make it back to Royce.
Oh, 100%. But like, we got to get to our boys first. And if we can do that from the front, that'd be great. And then what we can do is just turn around and be like, yeah, keep going. And they'll be like, oh, they let us from the front. What's up, baby?
And then like, I think Riley's probably like not really knowing what they're doing here, right? They're mostly like, like, yeah, okay, that sounds okay.
Riley ferments revolution, but then gets confused by it.
Confused by like leadership, I think, right?
I like the difference in approach too. Like, no, we should be strong leaders from the front. And Riley's like, but what if we made them die? Hey, two approaches that in the past have worked for revolution and starting, I think. But, okay, so you all are leading the charge.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, you make your way in towards the security checkpoint, the level 1, which at this point one of the guards had already come out from. So, and as you sort of come into this area, you see there's a level 1 guard, and then 2 level 2 guards have just come through. That clearance door is open, and they're standing there, and the one guard is kind of like talking to them and pointing out as you come around the corner. Now, the level 2 guards are a bit scarier, right? Still standard battle dress, but they both have SMGs on the sort of like, like where they're on the like real tight, like the kind of where it is on a strap, but it like holds tight to them, where they can hold it up and fire, and then they could drop it and it would like slide back down. So they each have an SMG on their side. There's like a heads up display on their corner in addition to the comms, and they have body cams. Seem to be linking probably back to something else.
I whisper under my breath, I'm like, Riley, Sonny, run. And just start sprinting flat stick for him. I'm like, they're coming. They're right behind us. They're coming. Help us, guys. Help us.
Yeah.
Okay, as you come in, you're dressed more or less like one of them, and the Oklahoma boys are behind you, leading this charge in. So you do that, and the 2 level 2 guards, like go into like SWAT style formation, like draw this up, and are sort of go a little bit past you as the two of you and Sonny, who's very in over his head and terrified, just run past them. And basically, once the three guys start like throwing something, let me roll something real quick. Yeah, one of the guys definitely, like, as he sees them draw these SMGs, he just like drops his thing and runs. So there's just like 2 or 3 of the group left, and the guards just put this up and just start opening fire down the hallway.
Before they fire, I want to like cattle prod one of them in the back of the neck.
Okay, go ahead and roll combat for me.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna take a stress as all this is going on.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah, Sonny is maybe gonna panic. Let me see.
I get an 11, so that's a critical success.
All right, yeah, critical success. So right as they go to open fire, then I'm gonna say you said it's a stun baton. Yeah, I mean, I think you place the thing at the base of this guy's neck and you just like short circuit him. He's not an android, but you biologically short circuit him for a second, and he just drops like a sack of potatoes on the ground, while the other guy does still get a chance to open fire towards the group. So yeah, the one guy falls down, the other one goes. One of the guys drops from one of the Oklahoma boys drops as these shots ring out. The other guard with the stun baton, before you went to attack, he actually turned. He was going to unlock that equipment cabinet that's in here before he saw you, like to try to outfit you guys before he saw you do that. So he has his back to you, but he's trying to open this cabinet where there's like trank pistols and stuff.
Yeah. Sonny, get him. Sonny, get him.
Yeah. I'm gonna rush the equipment. I see this guy with his equipment.
All right, go ahead and roll damage for this one. I'm not gonna make you roll combat because he's trying to frantically get this thing open. But we'll see if you stun him.
That's a 2.
All right, a little bit of damage. He definitely fails his body save too, so he doesn't like fully like pass out, right? But he gets like shocked and is like half hanging off this equipment thing. He has the little key card for it, right? It was like in his hand, and he's like shocked against it. So he's stunned for a moment.
Yeah, I guess like I'll maybe like shove him on the ground and like say, Sonny, like knock this guy out, and I'm gonna kind of get in. You said there were trank pistols. Is there any other kind of things in here, or?
Yeah, let me tell you real quick. I'll scroll back to that.
Sorry, mate.
I love this because a lot of people don't go the start a revolution way. I like it though, because it's definitely it's like when we were writing it, it's like we were talking about it. I was like, it feels like you could just talk to a lot of other people and be like, no, there's more of us than guards. Let's take them. So it's fun that you guys have done that. There are 4 stun batons, 2 trank pistols, 8 trank darts, a revolver, and 12 rounds of ammo for it.
Right. I think I don't know. I'm gonna roll just a fear real quick to see if Riley's actually has the guts to like pick up a gun, right? Or if he's just gonna be freaking out about this.
Real scientist moment.
Yeah, no, he's like too stressed. Like he can't handle that. So he just goes for the trank stuff.
Okay. So you grab the trank guns, load them up. Sonny looks over the options there and is actually, despite me giving him very low stats in my head, he is this is a crucible for him. He's hardened by battle in a way he did not expect, and he actually does grab the revolver, especially with this submachine gun going off in the back, and he's like, all right, I'll take that then. In for a penny, in for a pound kind of a thing, I think, for Sonny. So he's taking this revolver. All right, back downstairs, and we are approaching our wrap up for play. I think what we're gonna have here is Tony, we're probably gonna have a oh, it's on. You know, like if this is a mini series, this is like the end of first of 3 parts or 2 parts, right? It's like revolution has begun.
The studio's onboarding this as a mid-season movie event, but they're trying to figure out if it's popular enough to spin into a short second half of season series before going all in.
We didn't get season 2, but we still managed to get enough money out of the company to do a movie tie-in finish up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like this is
Serenity and a bunch of other shit.
Yeah, we're on it's like the jailbreak episode of Andor where it's like, oh, it's on, but not everything is resolved. But either way, the two of you who are down in level 2, are you just trying to find Jasper among all of this? I would say even though you're in this big facility, you hear something, little bits of things in the distance. Well, actually, no, you're still on the same level at this point. You haven't like gone down. You've just gone further in. Yeah, I mean, you hear very distant noise of something kind of echoing down the halls. Like a fray or gunfire.
Are we dressed at this point? I'm just frantically. I went and grabbed.
Yeah. You were just going to grab. Yeah, if you're going to grab housekeeping, totally. If you each want to roll a d5, I'll tell you something else you find though. Just for fun. Just good to have a bit of fun.
I got a 3.
I got a 4.
All right. Oh no, my notes. I keep my notes. Marco, Royce, that is, finds you find a fully loaded revolver hidden under a towel, like a gross sort of dirty gym towel.
Housekeeping was just ready to pop off. Y'all went to the wrong place to foment revolution. You should have gone to housekeeping.
True.
And then Tony, sorry, roll again for me because you rolled housekeeping uniform, but you already found one of those.
you have a premium housekeeping uniform. That would be a 2.
All right, you find a sticky note that says alterations number 5, and then in all caps baloney.
Oh God, I'm so.
Looks like a password.
I know. I want to go back to alterations so bad right now, but I'm not going to.
We get the strap like that. We get the Royce reaching in and being like pulling out a revolver, and Greeback being like looking at it, unexpectedly. This revolver comes out of this hanger. You tuck it away hidden, and then you're off, good to go off that way.
Did you say, did we hear gunfire or no? We're pretty far away, but
it's thin. I would say, I don't even know. Yeah, I would say it's up to you whether or not you would recognize it, because you're in this big, thick, concrete, fortified facility. You're pretty far, but it would have had that snap.
I'll also say you were very clear.
Gunfire sound too.
You were very clear in that this section of the building is very loud, also too, that we are in.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, probably not.
Big doors and through another section, like an airlock sort of section.
Yeah, probably not. Too far then.
I think I would play the part of being an overly concerned housekeeper from just the security. I've been here for so long. I have no idea what's going on. This is not normal. And so anybody I pass, I don't know what's going on. I just needed.
I'm just going to look at them after he says that and say, do you know how hard it is to get bloodstains out?
I mean, you look the part, and there are definitely more people that are getting called as this sort of is escalating, right, to this higher level. So I mean, you don't come across as a threat. So for the most, I mean, that works in the short term. Are you headed to human resources to try to find Jasper, or are you headed just to the secondary processing on this level to try to get further down, to try to get to level?
So that's my thing is if we want to just get on a ship and get out of here with decent enough clearance to get past the orbital guns that I do remember from the very beginning, and I'm really appreciative that somebody asked about. Is that a go down thing? That's a go down thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what Marge told us.
Yeah.
Jasper's the way out.
I would hold Crew back. Will you go get Jasper with me?
I guess.
Dramatic pause.
Yep. And then I'm gonna just beeline. Any security that passes me, I'm gonna ask, hey, what's going on? What's going on? I'm really worried about this.
Cool.
And if they give me information,
it's not too far. You have to pass through. I mean, we already described bookkeeping. You pass down through bookkeeping, through another long of these sort of very, enclosed concrete hall to sort of this next cluster of rooms, compartmentalized rooms off, where you do come into human resources. So it's probably like a few minutes if you're sort of bustling and being like, oh, something's going on. It's, like that little, you're not trying to like fully run, but you're trying to like be hurried because something strange is happening. You do come into human resources. It's a large space split into 4 discrete, like sort of 4 enclosed offices, each with a placard of a different onboarding specialist name, one of which is Jasper. There's like 1 or 2 others in this, but it has sort of like a communal waiting room in the middle, and then each of these private offices. So you do see Jasper's office on the name as well. Not onboarding anyone right now.
And is
Just in
Jasper
his office.
Jasper's awaiting us because of Marge, or?
Yeah, Jasper doesn't have anyone in there that they're meeting with right now. Like an older guy, sort of unkempt grayish hair, really thin. Yeah, just kind of sitting at this desk here.
Yeah, I'll keep character and be. I feel like it's important to talk to HR right now. Jasper? What's going on?
I feel stressed in my work environment, and I need somebody to help give me the tools to process what's happening.
Come in. Kind of looks at the two of you as like housekeeping uniforms. Is like, come in, take a seat, keep cool.
This is I have pulled this bit so many times, and now I don't remember. What did Marge tell us about what Jasper was going to do for us specifically?
Jasper could get you down. Marge doesn't have level 3 clearance. Jasper does.
Cool. I say, Marge told us that, and I open my mouth, and what Marge said comes out.
And he's just like, well, that's to the point. And he like looks over at his terminal, and he's like, from what I can tell, it seems like others like ourselves, maybe looking for a way out, or they're going about it a different way upstairs, but that's good for you. It's a distraction. He's like, if you want to get down to mission planning so that you can get yourself a clearance off this place, well, 2 things. I can get you in the door. I can get you through secondary processing. I can get you in the door to level 3. Or I've got this. He pulls a key out of his like jacket pocket, like his suit jacket pocket. This is to an access hatch in maintenance that will take you straight down into the archives room in level 3. From there, you can get to mission planning. It's up to you.
So he's saying he can either put us into
the
system, or he can give us this key card that'll take us a back way.
Yeah, but no one's going to know you came that way.
I mean, let's take the back way.
You were raring for secret rooms earlier.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
GM's giving us exactly what we want. We flinched.
Yeah, he hands you the key and is just like, whatever you're going to try to do it quickly, because I have a feeling if this goes too bad upstairs or on level 1, they're going to probably lock down this place for a few days. So you've probably only got an hour or 2 if you want to get off now. And just slide you the key. And it's like, thank you for the discussion. And opens the door for you all to leave.
Thank you, Jasper.
So maintenance is just to the south of here. For the sake of, like I said, trying to wrap it at about the 2.5 hour mark of play here. I'm going to just narrate here for a second so we don't overstay anyone's welcome, especially because, it's going to be sunrise for Reese soon.
Yeah, it's 4:30 in the morning on Father's Day.
That's the real RPG playing style. Way too late on a Saturday.
Sunday morning.
Okay, so Sunday for you, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm in the future.
So you make way down into this like big mechanical and maintenance room with this key. There's like workbenches, tools, breaker panels, those kind of things in here, right? It's like both it's like a utility room and where the maintenance crew sort of where they operate out of typically. Being in the middle of the day and with everything else going on, it's empty. So you're able to take the hatch down, and between the large like riot breaking out upstairs and this, I think these would be our two scenes that we'll end on. You open this hatch and it's sort of like a ladder that you go down, and this is definitely the first time either of you have been to anything that is like a level 3 area. And even then your level 2 was very sparing. You were sent to like one exact department, talked to someone like Marge for 5 minutes, and then came back out. And what you come down to on this ladder, that literally just comes down this long, it's like it has like the metal caging around it to keep you from like falling out totally off of it. But you come down into this sort of half lit, like sort of safety lighting, but the lights are otherwise off. Massive room, like a football field length on every side, right? Like 100 yards by 100 yards, huge, quiet, echoey room where there are these big, almost like museum-like archives of physical records, drives, data cassettes, like items. These it has like, if you've ever seen an archive actually in a museum, it's like a massive version of the flywheel, like where you can spin the wheel to move the shelving. So there's more shelves in here than you could go between at any one time. Just floor to near an access point in the ceiling, once you get to the center of the room of these things, like dozens and dozens of these shelves, labeled like missions classified, facilities classified, data cassettes, paper records, all those kind of things as you all come down here. And I think for the sake of us trying to wrap it right now, it's like as you're coming down, it's kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit of the Ark of the Covenant moment, right? From the end of Indiana Jones. It's that like, oh my gosh, there's so much more here. It's a little bit more of like you hearing the string of data, but it's like, wow, there's so much here. But now you're in the middle of all the stuff they definitely don't want anyone else to know about. All these records of classified facilities and missions and things are very clearly here as you all come down, and this quiet sits in, and no one seems to be down here in this room, right, that you can hear, and you kind of step down. And then we got back up front to the top at level 1 as the two revolution leaders at this point now are leading a small group. About half the group has been shot and taken down. We see the two of you making your way towards the level 2 room, back through the level 2 clearance to try to meet up with the rest of your group. We see Sonny, the one guard with the SMG that was still there, like turns to you, like looking for aid, and then seeing the other guy's been taken out, and turns and raises a gun. And Sonny, in an unexpected moment of bravery, actually just like shoots this guard down and kind of like looks at himself stunned as the Oklahoma boys keep running in, and then the rest of you run off. And that's where we will end part 1 here. Part 2 never to be seen on stream.
I don't know. We can set a stretch goal, come back, play more. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Don't tempt me, Frodo.
If you fund in the first 15 minutes, then we'll be back for part 2. Let's do our reaction roll. Reaction roll is a live stream inside of a live stream. It's Art Stands to sit down with the creator, in this case, creators of a game that we just played, and talk about what it was like to play that. We just played the Bunker Escape adventure, at least a taste of it, for the upcoming crowdfunding project Outsourced for use of Mothership 1E. Marco, for folks who are just joining us, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and a little bit about Outsourced.
Yeah, I'm Marco Serrano, and I run Spicy Tuna RPG. I'm very grateful to have played through this again, and as a player going through the experience, honestly, in many ways, completely different than I have before. Outsourced is coming to crowdfunding on September 5th, and this was a flavor of multiple variations of how the potential escape can go, assuming that you don't assume or choose a simulation into the mercenary camp. So, yeah, thank you for playing through.
Oh, so we could have just been like, we're on your team now, and that would have been the end of the adventure.
Yeah,
why don't we do that?
Yeah, I would say it's one part adventure, one part like setting, because there are definitely characters, there are NPCs you can run into that if we were doing a longer play, I probably would have introduced in that level 1 area that are like that are sort of like people like you that were brought in, but they're believers in like
True believers.
Yeah, we're kind of prisoners here. We were kind of sent to die, but hey, they take pretty good care of us, right? I got like 3 hots and a cot, that kind of mentality of like,
drug.
Yeah, like other, it's other like blue collar contractor types who are like, hey, I've had it a lot worse than this. This is a nice place, and if all I got to do is occasionally, do something, that kind of a mentality. It's like there are definitely people that have just accepted it as, hey, it's better than some alternatives. So yeah, you could definitely just be like, we want to work our way up, maybe really slow play it. I'm gonna get a job between missions in the housekeeping department. You could definitely do that if you wanted.
Love it.
Yeah, I think this module, this book that we're making, is kind of the type of book we want to keep creating, and you might liken it to, if you're familiar with Mothership, to like Dead Planet. Like, this is the Screaming on the Alexis, where you can play it completely standalone within these understandings and your experience, or you also know that you were outsourced here. You were, someone paid for you to go here, and Luko Finn Corp, working under different aliases like Gunfire and Rescue, are actually paid to make people disappear legitimately. So playing through the book as kind of more a campaign style or a short campaign, you can learn these certain things and know that you might not want to go back to where you were sent from, because they may be the ones who were sent to kill you. And there's some mechanisms in there for Luko Finn to purchase your life. As long as you don't come back, as long as you are seen as dead, then you can work your career through them. And that could still lead to eventually wanting to escape. Shit could still go wrong, or you could be sent to die again. There's 3 different planets you can die on. One of them being
Mothership selling point. There are 3 planets you can die on.
There are 3 different planets. Yeah, one of them being Venus, which is constant downpour, is completely tied in. It's sent from Luko Finn. So you could play through the entire short campaign of constant downpour, come back, and then want to actually leave or whatnot. So any variation of
I really like about what you've been doing, Marco, is creating this sort of centralized universe where everything ties into each other and everything like that. Like, it's something I've sort of tried to emulate a little bit with what I've been writing, and I've seen a few of the other third-party creators sort of jumping on the same train as well. And like, I'm not trying to say you were the first to do it, but like the way you've been doing it has been really, really good. And like the whole Spicy Tuna universe of like Knights of Lazarus and Familiar Faces, and like even freaking Orbital Debris, man, like you got that shit in there, and that's wild. Like, we made some far out crap, and Like it's just the combination and the bringing it all together, and the fact that it's just like it might even just be like, oh yeah, Renee. It actually turns out Renee's like an NPC from another universe. I mean, another adventure that I did. Like it's just such a smaller connection sometimes, but they're so good, and it leads to things that make the world bigger and more lived in, and it's this like just larger than life setting. And like you look at like the Marvel movies and stuff like that as a reference point. It's like, oh yeah, Tony Stark's doing this thing over here, and he's like, oh yeah, cool. Renee from Outsourced is doing this over there.
But
I'm
I will
not trying to
say,
say Renee's Tony Stark, but you know,
yeah, Reese, for true fans, we call it the spicy tuniverse.
Yeah,
so,
the Tuniverse. Yep.
that's what I'm saying. It's the
It's,
spicy universe.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing I was going to say relating to that I think the aspect of that I think goes well, because you do see, it's not a unique concept overall. You definitely see a lot of other people like outside of Mothership, right, do that, or like publishers or something being like, oh, this is our settings or whatever. But the thing that the appeal to me of it in a more sort of like harsh, deadly game like Mothership, the thing that I like is that it helps make the world sort of the campaign, not the party, the campaign, which I think is really cool. So like you could, like you said, if you're probably not going to play the same 4 characters across all the spicy tuna adventures. That's like, or either that or you're on like mega luck and good player skill mode. But you know what I mean? Like, but the thing that those I think I get more value as a person running those games due to those connections, because those connections can be, as the player, those are the things we're seeing that like we don't have to be Tony Stark and follow him through all the movies. We can be the different people that are in the middle of those chaotic events and see how the corporations, the factions are at play. Because we helped that, this person or this like group take on power, like maybe here, it's like the fallout from this could be this bunker is now taken up. It's a new mercenary camp of ex-Luko Finn people who had their like slaves basically, right, who had their life purchased. Now they run this bunker, and then in the future version, those people could come in to aid your other party or whatever. I think when it helps alleviate some of the things some players don't like with that character death, when it's like, no, the story is the world. And we're just looking at it through different characters,
It's not just that though, but like it also sort of helps with other bits and pieces as well, in regards to like, so we'll do Constant Downpour, and we run through Constant Downpour, and it's great, and everyone has fun. We do horrible things on Venus and die horrible deaths. Then everyone's like, oh, you know what? I need a break. Let's play, I don't know, Fist, or like Violence RPG, or something else. And then you come back to it and it's like, hey, listen, I've got this other game I want to play. It's Mothership again. It's called Outsourced. And everyone's like, oh yeah, cool, no worries, we'll play Outsourced. And all of a sudden it's like, wait, you talking about that fucking like Venus bullshit we did? I see what you're doing there. Yeah, what's up? Yeah.
Unknown sequels.
Yeah. I also just love the idea of like, because I do think it happens a lot of times I play mostly one shots for Mothership, but like even talking to my friends who play ongoing campaigns, like lots of times at a certain point you're going to decide we're not going to do what the corporation wants us to do. I think it's usually pretty early on.
Are you trying to tell me you're going to foment revolution in the middle of a campaign and split the party 3 ways?
But part of the question oftentimes becomes like, what do you do with a party who's just decided to try to make it on their own because it's actually not sustainable in the universe it's been created in, because everything is corrupt and bankrupt. And so the ability to be like, yeah, the corporation isn't mad, they're just sending you here and outsourcing you for a little bit, like, is a really great narrative beat to be able to have of you totally fucked up the last mission and survived, or your ship in orbit still had some people on it. When they get back, here's what happens to them, is a really fun, you may not have succeeded, but we can keep on going, like, standard.
The ship as a reference point for like a West Marches campaign is a thing I've been talking to a lot of people about, and like Sean as well is freaking, he loves that sort of shit.
Yeah, because I mean, for me, I always just have people in cryo suspension on a ship, because that's a great, easy place to pull new characters from in a lot of different things. But like it's
Star Trek phase them in.
Yeah, just
Sorry, it doesn't work anymore. They only got one guy in. That's it. Shut up.
So just having the, like, when you hit that narrative wall of like what would happen to these people actually besides just being given their next job if they're still alive. Like having something like this where you can be like, here is the consequence of what your company has done to get rid of you, you know, on the whatever. And so yeah, super enjoyable. Chris, you've been kind of quiet this time as we've been just kind of chit-chatting over you. What were your experiences like?
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much touched on a lot of things, but I mean, I love this setting, just having played it like as like that hub, right? I mean, I'm like you were saying, like this kind of like idea of like this is the story is going to be the setting, and this is a perfect hub that anyone could bring into a game. I feel like even after like you play a one shot and you're like, oh, some people survived, but we want to keep on playing Mothership. Like, well, hey, here's Outsourced. It's like there's like the thriller aspects to it behind it as well. You know, you have these things that can piece together over a, you know, kind of like maybe a longer amount of time, especially if you're playing a campaign. We just kind of went like, all right, let's cause some shit, you know, and see what happens. That's what you do during a one shot. But like, and I love that aspect of like, okay, there's lots of little itty bitty things you can do here. Just kind of like pushing doors, talking to some different people. You don't want to push too far. It reminds me a lot of Les Maisons qui Rend Fou, which is like from an Asterix and Obelix comic, and it's the house that turns people crazy. And it's the bureaucracy, right? And you're kind of trapped in this bunker of bureaucracy, which is another horror in itself. And I really like that aspect as we started discovering it.
Love it. Anybody have any questions for Christian or Marco? Or Marco, do you have any questions you want to ask us?
Yeah, well, I want to say one thing if I can first, in respect to the Tooniverse. So what it's definitely a borrowed idea, and then it also, you know, Tony talks about supporting your projects more, and this is all third-party stuff. Like I don't own Mothership, obviously, but that's the whole purpose. Is even in the first books, there were built-in connections between Knights of Lazarus and Familiar Faces, and that's true moving forward. With every book published has interconnections, and with Outsourced specifically, we're going to add my brother and I are writing it right now, is like a mercenary appendix. So I have a number of mercenaries, but they will be directly tied into Familiar Faces as like the shore leave sandbox campaign of the Tooniverse, as well as like Knights of Lazarus, etc. And then in the future, I'll be working with amazing writers to do standalone adventures that have these like tie-ins between the corporations introduced in each one, including NPC pairings and stuff, just to like, they have this giant interconnected web of ways to play and continue through. Or like I play one shots usually also, so you'll get the reference to Knights of Lazarus when you played that before, but you were like, okay, so this is part of a bigger thing. And I'm really appreciative to be writing or working with a lot of writers for that, because we get adventures like this one, which is I think it's a standout in the feel and the tactics that it requires to work through. That Christian wrote is, you can go guns a-blazing for sure, but you can also just wander around and make your way through, find what you need, and kind of avoid combat at all until like the very end, or even really just be combatless the whole time. So
yeah, sorry, I did a bit of combat there.
No, like I said, I've never been through it like that. When I ran it, when I play tested it, when Joshua Justice also play tested it for us, and I don't think he went that route either. And it was really cool to play through. Yeah, I guess the I don't know if I have any questions. I think I already kind of spoke on the adventure. I like it a lot, like I said, because it is like a thriller. It's very, very a different feel than Alien Loose on the Ship, you know.
Awesome. And Kickstarter launches on Tuesday, is that correct?
Wednesday.
Tuesday, September 5th, and we'll be running through Thursday, the 28th of September. Yeah, so I'm really excited to get this one out. It's the first one where it's a lot less in-house. Like I wrote maybe 60% of it, but prior it was mostly in-house writing. And, you know, like I said, you know, like we know Christian wrote for this adventure, and Alfred Valley wrote the solo procedure for this adventure, which introduces different use of the combined system semiotic standard, which I'm super grateful to have in the book. Walton Wood is our editor.
As a playtester for what was it called? The thing Alfred did. The
Thousand Empty Lights.
Thousand
that's
Empty
the one.
Light.
1,000 Empty Lights.
Yeah.
That was sick. I had a bit of a muck around of that as a playtester. So like knowing that that's coming over to this, I knew he was doing like solo stuff for it. I didn't realize it was gonna be symbiotic standard. And that's freaking mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Alfred
cool.
brought it up, and I was like, "Whoa, I feel like that's a big ask. I don't want to ask that." And Alfred's like, "Well, that's what I was assuming we could just do." And you know, he made that system to be used over and over, and you know, so you'll be seeing it in far more than just Outsourced, from what I understand. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked for it. And then obviously we took a different, slightly different art approach with Evangeline Gallagher on the project, which I'm just overly grateful for. So I'm excited for this one to get out.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we just got to
Yeah.
pressure Sean into adopting semiotic standard as the official solo Mothership rules. And so, you know,
I got to meet him in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I got to meet with him in a couple of weeks. I'll see what I can do.
just you know, be like, we know where you live. Like, you know, it's not a big. It's just, I mean, we're not making a threat, but we do know where you live. And so,
I can fly to
Yeah,
Texas.
the last like two quick things I was going to say, once again, not a question, I'm just talking to any audience who's watching this, is the layout and art is really incredible. One really fun thing about these kind of things where it's not my project that I'm overseeing the whole thing, I'm just literally writing an adventure and handing a doc to Marco, is then Marco sends me all these pictures and it's like, ooh, we made art of all these characters, you know, like there's art of all of the people that you met. I think there's art of every single NPC you met. There's
You want me to
art
name
of some
them
of the areas and creepier things. Even there are, you know, the art is really cool. The layout looks really good. Like you said, Evangeline Gallagher's art is, I think, really cool, and it's like it feels very Mothership while also being very different, I think, than the art we've seen in a lot of other Mothership stuff. So I just wanted people to check that out because I think it's cool to be like, I just wrote this person. I just wrote that this person's a thing, and then someone else drew it. And also the other thing is that there are definitely creepy, weird things in this adventure. The android typing the death tapes in was just a hint of some of the weirdness you can get to in parts of this. But
the putting
That's
the
all.
human in human resources.
those are my last disclaimers.
Yeah, we definitely didn't get to, which I'm glad in some ways. You know, we didn't get to some of the
We didn't spoil
most-
it. Yeah, the whole thing.
parts. So look out for that when you play.
I just pinned it in the chat, but please follow the project at ttrpg.link /outsourced KS. That link's also on the screen right underneath Marco's beautiful face. We've got a couple of other great things coming up here on the channel. Like I mentioned at the top of the stream, we have tomorrow Kyle Latino, one of my favorite people in the RPG scene, and I, just super talented artist and creator, are sitting down to do prep for a adventure we are playing next Friday using their system agnostic bestiary. This is going to be a project coming to Kickstarter, I believe, next month. It is absolutely gorgeous. If you've been following Kyle's Map Crow YouTube channel, you've seen his Building a Better Monster series. A lot of that work is being combined. It is something that helps you think about how a different type of monster fits better into the campaign you're creating in a totally system agnostic way. So whether you're playing, Dungeons and Dragons, but whether traditional or modern, whether you're playing Down We Go or an OSR system, it's going to help you think a little bit more intentionally about that, but also just be a big, beautiful book you can put on your shelf or on your coffee table. So come by, watch us do the prep for that using the resource, see some of that great art, or come back next Friday and watch us play it. We've also, not next week, but the week after, are launching our biggest project, one that I don't want to put a lot of pressure on anybody, but if it's not successful, I'll probably quit. RPG Zine Club. This is going to be a monthly subscription to different zines by different emerging creators that we'll curate. We'll do story games and adventure games. You can choose which one you want. You can get them all. But basically, we will curate zines at a super affordable cost for you, help get them in publication, and help those people sidestep all the arduous realities of going to Kickstarter. This is especially designed to help emerging, marginalized voices, people in the global South who can't access Kickstarter, who are making amazing things. And just rather than saying, hey, be excited and then wait 6 months to a year for a project. It's a, hey, let's be excited as a community right now. Let's talk about these games, play these games, create space for dialogue, and create space for reflection around them. We're super excited. You can go to rpgzine.club to check out all of that and more. We've also got a cool passport that I shipped to Christian's old house back before they became an expatriate.
Before I moved away.
And some cool stickers coming up. We'll have membership cards, a lot of really cool stuff, so you can do it. And if you fill out one of the RPG Zine Club passports and find us at an in-person event, I will stamp it and buy you a piece of pizza, because why would you read things if there isn't pizza at the end of it? And so
Come to Australia. Come to Australia.
I
need a
am,
stamp. Come to Australia.
or you come here. Either way, if I come to Australia, anybody who, because we did a whole pizza, not even just a piece of pizza.
Yes.
And so we will have digital options for
bullshit
international
right now, so
also
it's
too.
cheap.
Yeah. And so please check that out. If you want to follow, subscribe, any of that kind of stuff, it's all great and help support us. You can go to plus1exp.com to find out more about all the work we do. But before you do any of that, go to ttrpg.link/outsourcedks. Hit follow on the campaign page. We don't have a good way we end streams, and at this point, we're not interested in figuring one out. So until next time, I'm just going to wave at the camera until I take us offline. Bye, everybody.
Cheers, team.
Bye, everyone.